Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that supports the Rizzler. We've turned the corner. We're fully supporting him for president for Tuesday. Please go out. No, don't do that. Oh, Scotty, hold on. You're still in mute. There you go.
To be fair, I was always supporting the Rizzler. It's Big Justice that I got a problem with.
Whoa! You're against Big Justice?
As my friend texted me out of the blue one day, Big AJ should throw a Big Justice through the barbershop window and take on the Rizzler. That's all I'm saying. As you know, Big AJ, the father of Big Justice.
Yeah, you're saying Big Justice has big Marty Jannetty energy?
Big time. Big time.
Wow. The breakup angle and all breakup angles. Oh man, what a time to be alive. The Rizzler and Big Justice and Big AJ on the Tonight Show. You and I going crazy over here, be like, how? And then also he's promoting AEW Full Gear on the
better than anyone ever has promoted a pay-per-view in history.
Let the record show that the first person to start promoting 2024's Full Gear for AEW was in fact Big AJ. Boom.
How many booms does that get?
I think that gets a couple booms at least. Have you ever seen anything get 3 booms? It's always 5 or 1. I mean, I've never
it's
seen
always 5. No, I saw like a 2 boom once. Rizzler gave like something a 2 boom.
Oh, come on, Rizzler. Is Rizzler related to them, or is he just
No, he's not. He's just awesome though. I saw that child, 7-year-old child, went to the Rangers game, the New York Rangers game in Madison Square Garden. Yeah. He got a double pop. They showed him once on the screen, like not him, just a picture of him, which got a big pop. And then they showed him again, and he got a bigger pop. I was like, this man got a double pop in MSG.
How many Instagram followers do you think he has?
The Rizzler?
Yeah.
Too many?
604,000.
That seems like too many.
That does feel like too many.
But he is hilarious.
Does Big AJ have more? I don't know. I can't see.
Big AJ definitely has more.
Wow.
I mostly think because they've been going and going.
He has Big AJ is 339,000.
This is him, right? Shout out to the Riz.
Rizzler's got double the amount as Big AJ and Big Justice. Yet I heard about them first.
Them getting involved in wrestling has allowed us to talk about this on the show.
Yeah,
with no problem whatsoever.
One of our many topics today is the Rizzler, Big Justice, and Big AJ on the Tonight Show promoting the freaking AEW. Now, has any single AEW contracted talent showed up on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon? Cody has been on there, but I think he was with WWE at the time.
Yeah, no, this is the first AEW talent ever on one of those late night shows.
You could say contracted talent because I assume he has a contract in place to wrestle at Full Gear.
Boom.
That's a boom, baby. All right.
Jimmy Fallon fucking despised these 3.
I know. The exact same thing all segment long. I could not believe that his animosity towards the Rizzler. The moment he's like, all right, Rizzler.
I was like, this is disrespectful. I watched that. I was like, man, that's how Ryan feels when I'm going off on my tangents. Damn, that's tough.
That's not true. Well, we'll see how many tangents you get to do this week because we not a lot of like big we have some kind of big topic things, but a lot of news items at the very least on our docket today. But Scotty, you did not want to talk about it, but I do this gimmick. So this is everything we have on the docket today. We are going to talk about the WWE ID program, the Independent Development Program that was unveiled this week.
Oh yeah.
And talk about sort of what that means, what that could mean for independent wrestling, who they might have already signed up as giving contracts. Speaking of contracts, they released a couple people out of their contracts, so we'll talk about that. Goldberg announced his retirement, so we'll talk about that as well. The GHC women's title has been formed. Kota Ibushi Eric Bischoff. Yes, we're going to talk about all that stuff. I think on the docket was McMahon's new entertainment company, but I don't really know if there's anything to talk about.
Yeah. No one cares.
Yeah,
There you go.
it feels like no one cared about that news story this week. So I think I'm going to
because him starting a company is like not at all what anyone wants to hear.
It's also like no one knows what it is. It's just an entertainment company. So it's like, what is this? Is it wrestling?
I thought Brian Alvarez perfectly summed it up. He said, "So is it like WWE films without WWE?" And Dave goes, "Yeah, kinda." And then Brian goes, and I quote, "I can't wait to not care about that company."
Perfect. We're going to talk about WWE Crown Jewel, of course, it took place this weekend. And then coming up this week for New Japan, Power Struggle and Fighting Spirit Unleashed. So we have a good amount of stuff on the docket here.
Two shows. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's two shows. One on Monday tomorrow, and then one on Friday. So a lot of stuff coming from New Japan this week. But we'll start off talking about the WWE Independent Development Program that was announced this week by WWE, of course. So what this is sort of a program that WWE is launching where they will partner with select training schools, sort of training schools for wrestlers accredited by WWE, and with specific at least 20, they've announced at least 20 independent wrestlers themselves to establish a potential pathway for wrestlers to join the WWE. This is a quote here from the press release. Quote, under the program, WWE will provide prominent independent wrestling schools with the WWE ID official designation with the goal of providing new trainees and existing talent at these select institutions with enhanced developmental opportunities. The schools are Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, which has already been kind of like loosely associated. Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory, which is also interesting because I think QT Marshall is still a part of this. So that's interesting. Seth Rollins' Black and Brave Academy. Not surprised there. Some school called Elite Pro Wrestling Training Center in Concord, New Hampshire. I've never heard of this. I don't know what this is, but I think it's funny to me that they did find the training center that has the name Elite in it. And also the Knox, I don't know how to pronounce this, Pro Academy in Los Angeles. All these schools are the first WWE ID independent wrestling schools to earn the official designation. Additionally, WWE ID, well, I guess we'll talk about that first part, and then we'll talk about the independent wrestling aspect of it. But
by the way,
yes,
the Elite Pro Wrestling is run by a former Evolve guy.
Oh, okay. Do we know
which who? I know Scott Reed. I'm just saying that because Gabe Sapolsky's heading this up. So
okay. What about the Knox Pro Academy?
Knox.
It's KNOKX.
Oh, of course. I got there. I definitely didn't spell it right. Oh, that's Rikishi's.
So no wonder Rikishi all of a sudden constantly in the news. And talking about
Rikishi's been constantly in the news anyways. He still thinks that Jey Uso should win the IC title. He already did, but he still thinks he should.
Yeah. So yeah, this is Rikishi, Black Pearl, I guess, Reno, NY. So yeah, this is Rikishi school. Okay, so that is.
Trick Williams wrestled here. Sorry.
Oh, interesting. I was trying to see about who their alumni are. I guess one of them is
Solo Sikoa.
Okay.
Viva Van.
Jacob Fatu. Miro.
Miro.
Yeah, we got Miro on the thing. I don't know.
The one of Toleona. He's on here.
They got
of the Gates of Agony.
Okay. So basically, if you're Samoan, you've probably wrestled here.
Yeah. I mean,
that's kind of where I'm getting that. The Tongan
definitely twins, a good chance.
Tonga twins from WoW.
It's California based, so
yeah. All right. So those are the schools. So any thoughts on sort of? We'll start there before we get to the actual like WWE talented, contracted independent wrestlers. But thoughts on WWE launching this program and thoughts on them hooking up with these schools, and what do you think this sort of would mean for the independent scene as a whole?
I mean, it makes sense on WWE's part. You start because I think with WWE past couple of years, right? They shifted all the way to college athletes and everything. And while that has done them well, I do think it would be wrong to not also be bringing in indies, right? You gotta have a little bit of both. You gotta have the mix because the mix is ultimately what works out. And I know a lot of people have been talking this week about how like this kind of proves that the Performance Center is not a success, which one, I think we've all talked about that for a couple of years now. I mean, I think funny enough, I think it's now becoming more of a success than it had been for its first decade. Because now you're starting to see actual people that were trained there make it. That being said, I do think that for WWE, it's obviously beneficial to essentially sign people up that, oh, if you have interest and you are part of this, then we can just give you a deal and you can sign on quickly. And then partnering with the schools, I think that thing is like not that big of a deal because every single person has a connection or or is signed to WWE, right? Like Seth is signed, Cody signed. Who was the first one?
Booker T.
Booker T,
I'm
obviously,
sure
which
Rikishi
as
has
you
one
said,
deal.
yeah, I'm sure Rikishi has a Legends deal, and then like the one non WWE signed, I guess, is the New Hampshire one, which, like, by the way, so random.
I think the randomness there is, again, it's Evolve connected, which is like they own Evolve now, and
Yeah.
also I think part of me is like it has the word elite in it, and I think that's part of it.
Yeah, so like I just
the conspiracy theorist in my head is like, I think they wanted to get that school
yeah.
because it has an
So,
elite in the name.
so I look at these five, right? And I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, this is like the UK all over again." And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I can go that far.
I
I can't.
I
Unless like if GCW signed up, okay, then yeah, there might be like a problem.
Yeah, I think there is a similarity. I think
Sure.
the big difference obviously is that with the UK scene and a lot and if you want to stretch beyond the UK scene and talk about like the territory system and all the stuff prior,
Yeah.
those were all relationships with like actual promotions where
Right.
you would take the top star, they would take the top stars of all these promotions and then move on.
Yeah.
Here it is the training schools before
Mhm.
they be seemingly quote unquote, who knows, before they would
Yeah.
become top stars. Maybe some top stars are still training in here, whatever. But at the same time, for me, it's also like, well, number one, the current independent wrestling scene is nowhere where the UK scene was back in, was it 2017 or whatever,
Yeah.
2018. So like what harm is this going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and with the training schools, it's like part of me is like, it's also good for like the wrestlers that are interested in going to the WWE because look at like guys like Ben Carter, right? Nathan
Right.
Frazier. AEW wanted the guy, but he didn't want to go to AEW because his dream was WWE.
Right.
If all these other wrestlers,
There's a lot of people out there that still feel that way.
and now they have a way clearer pathway to get to
Mhm.
WWE than anywhere else, than just going
Yeah.
to a school and hoping for the best. Now they have a
Yeah.
clear pathway and go to these schools. So I think if anything, what it's going to do is just sort of filter and funnel the people that want to go to WWE and don't want to go to and just like want to
I
work
agree.
or something.
I mean,
Uh,
there will be some that may want to, but listen, if you sign up for this and then WWE ends up wanting you, you're that's where you're going. Like that's how this system works now.
yeah,
I was as Dave explained it, like people
because
could sign up for
if they wanted to take
WWE.
people from GCW, they could have.
Right,
They could do that right now.
right. Like if people sign up for WWE ID, that's a tongue twister. That is killing me right now. And say they want to go to AEW or AEW offers them a contract. They can go, but WWE has the right to say, no, we want you, or go ahead. Which, hurts and doesn't hurt at the same time. Um, but I just don't see it the same as the UK because of like you said, they were just taking top stars and moving on essentially. And we have to remember what the UK did to itself in 2020. Um,
Oh,
to
that obviously that also played a hand as well.
Yeah, for sure. I just think like it makes sense on WWE's part, it makes sense to have a streamline. And if anything, and Ryan, I want to get your opinion on this because I do think it could be beneficial to AEW. It pushes AEW to kind of get training people, right? Like you and me have talked about this a lot. They sign people, yes, but I mean, AEW ID is just New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Please, Rev Pro.
Rev Pro too. Oh, Rev Pro too. No, you're right. You're
I say that, but they haven't taken anyone from Rev Pro, have they?
Besides like Will Ospreay, no, I don't think
that's
so.
also New Japan. Yeah, well, what's also interesting about that aspect of it is that like AEW was built obviously off of the success of independent wrestling at the time, right? And that sort of gobbled up all the top stars out of the indies because it was all the people that were available. So
I mean, you and me could just accept like the indies are gone because both WWE and AEW were just fighting, not fighting now, but they fought for all the top stars already. You know,
I was going to bring this up when we were. This is a thought I've had all year, and I've been thinking about all year. I was definitely going to bring this up at our like end of the year show. We talk about like the year that was 2024. Like I've been thinking a lot about like what the indie system, I guess, looked like, the territory system looked like during the WWE or WWF WCW era, right?
Yeah.
The Monday Night War era, right? And it's like, well, in that period, the territories are slowly dying out, and then they officially basically die out. And then you have like some indies pop up, but the only one that's like super prominent is like ECW, obviously. And like name another indie that popped up during the Monday Night War era that became good and well enough known. I simply do not know. That's a history that I could learn more about, but I simply do not know of any other than ECW as a thing. And then whatever other, dying territory things I can think of. And then like from there, once WCW ended, what came out of that? Ring of Honor started and TNA started, right? Yep. Basically like almost immediately after the closure of WCW. So it's this thing of like, this smaller level of the smaller pool of the indies and the territories, all this stuff is like, it's the similar thing is happening there, where it's like it doesn't really exist nowadays because as soon as you become something on the indies, you're going to get scooped up by somebody. Yep. Here now, WWE can scoop up whoever is more interested in them. And AEW, they're going to have the tough part of, are they going to get anyone from the indies nowadays? Who knows? But it's also like they also haven't really been getting anybody. Well, who's the last person that AEW picked up from the indies?
The last
Brian Keith?
Yeah.
Probably Brian Keith, right?
For sure.
And beyond that, it might be I don't know, Camille. I don't know if that counts.
Well, that's the NWA.
Yeah. Again, so it's like I don't know if that counts per se, but this idea of like they aren't really getting anybody from the indies anymore, even though they were built off of the backs of the indies for a large part, along with Ring of Honor, along with New Japan, along with all these all these other threads of wrestling scene at the time. So what they're doing now and what they have been doing is WWE talent and New Japan talent from all these other things. What does that look like for them moving forward? I don't know if it affects them that much because they aren't really pulling from the indies, and the people they are pulling is like maybe one or two people a year. And if anything, like I think what hurt them more of losing out on those indie prospects was foregoing AEW Dark, right? And that no longer being sort of that breeding ground of independent talent. I mean, that's also a lot of where people popped up to NXT, right?
Yeah.
They popped up Dark first, and then they got signed to NXT. So I don't know if it really affects AEW all that much, but it's definitely not. It's not something that will help them for sure.
I mean, I think it should push them.
I would agree with that.
And I'm not. I know a lot of people are like not happy with WWE ID, and some people think the indies are dead. Newsflash, they've been dead.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's like, how can it kill
like
already pretty dead?
Like I know there's a lot of.
I don't think it's the great thing in that aspect, but
no. Like I think there's a lot of young wrestlers working their way up, but we are not in an indie boom. The indie boom died when AEW came around because they had to sign talent, right?
Yeah.
And the closest I think we got to another one post Elite is like when the Garcias and the Moriartys and the Yutas were starting to make noise, and what happened? They were signed
And those are
instantly.
people that were like too young and too inexperienced to get that first wave of signings.
Right, but they didn't want to lose the out on them. So, and this is the problem with the indies. You don't have these guys like, working there and then going to Japan and then signing anymore. You just have people you have a handful that do that. Like Titus Alexander, he's doing that, for example, but like very few. And many of the best ever did that, right?
Yeah.
Many of the best ever traveled the world and got better. And now it's like, there's no room to do that because you have two top companies that are trying to, yes, sign the best talent they know of, but also trying to hit on these prospects without knowing what their full potential is. I don't mean to make this this is a comparison that I actually do want to make. So, for example, in the NFL these days, a lot of teams draft quarterbacks in the first round because they're looking for their franchise guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time they're benching them after 10 games or something, or struggles, and everyone's like, oh, they're done, they're not. No, you need to give these people time. And it goes for you and me have talked about this
Happens
with
in
the
wrestling
Moriartys,
constantly.
right? And we've talked about this with the Moriartys and Garcias and those of the world. You got to give them time, and that time unfortunately has to be TV time. And I don't say unfortunately in a bad way. I say unfortunately, and it may not benefit your TV right now, but the hope is in the long run it does.
Yeah. That's also the thing of like what NXT is like it's you
Right.
seeing them develop that time. And it's very
Yes.
hard. Like, remember all the things of like people being like Braun Breaker should beat Roman Reigns. It's like, no, he's not. He's the top star of NXT, but it's still like a
Right.
smaller level brand. He's not ready for that
Right.
position in any capacity.
Right. I've watched him, for example, grow. Now that guy is far more complete than when he was in NXT, right? It's like that
Because
type of
look,
thing.
who are like you just talked about the first round draft picks of QBs and stuff. A lot of them obviously coming from college. The top
And going to bad teams, by the way. It's bad teams
as well.
drafting.
Look at like the Commanders, right? Like they just who's the Commanders?
Daniels, Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
A top guy out of the college area. They bring him up and they get something, but he's not going to be like Commanders aren't going to be like a great team all of a sudden. They're better.
They are.
They're better.
All of a sudden, they're 6-2. But yes, but no, your point is
not
exactly
not every of the
right.
top stars from college are going to work on the next stage
or instantly. But all these teams, right? They're trying to make money, so they have to be instant. And that kind of goes again in wrestling. We watch all these young guys. I mean, I'm watching people get all this praise for Commander after his match with Fletcher last night. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But he's a guy that they signed pretty quickly, right? He was making waves on the indies. Incredibly talented guy.
In Mexico as well. Yeah.
Right. And they call him up to make people look good. But, I think these past couple of months, he's been putting it all together. He's still losing, but he's putting it all together and he's making people want to see him. And it's like, you can go down the AEW roster page. Like, if you were going to talk about prospects that they've signed over the past couple of years that they've actually done right by, I think, Big Shotty's the one I like point at. Like, they gave him time. Now he disappeared for a while, but they gave him time. I mean, we're talking about tag team champions right now that obviously everyone is invested in Private Party Story, but they disappeared for a long time too, because it's again how are they going to get ready if they're not getting reps, right?
It took them 5 years to get to winning titles.
Yeah, and that's just how it goes sometimes. But back to the WWE ID thing, I understand it from their point of view. Let's get people in the door if they want to come here, right? Young talents. They're not going to sign everyone that's signed up for that. They're just not. That would be absurd. But it's an opportunity for these wrestlers. And like you said, if they dream of going to WWE, that's better than the 2 times a year tryouts that they do, right? That
it's also like if these wrestlers were already dreaming of going to WWE, more than likely they were already trying to get to these schools. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, for sure. That's why, like, when I saw the schools, I was like, who cares? Like, these are the schools you'd go to for this.
Yeah, if
You know?
anything, I think there will be a.
It's much like when people went to Shawn Michaels school back in the day.
Mhm. I think if anything, there'll be like a tick up in um like applications for these schools, right?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. This is the benefit for the schools more than anything, I'm sure.
It's also the conversation of like, like we said, with the UK scene, all these sort of places. Is this going to destroy the independent scene? It's like, well, I don't know, because these are with schools, and they obviously,
Mhm.
part of this is they want they want promotions to exist to book their wrestlers. So
Right.
they can't. If you're WWE, you don't want the indie system to not exist anymore, or promotions to not exist
Of
anymore,
course.
because that is how you are going to get the training, especially if
Mhm.
this is an admission of the performance center being bad, right? And not really
Right.
working so well. And or rather, not necessarily an admission of it
Mhm.
being bad, but an admission of it being way more expensive than the output.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the more likely thing here.
Right.
Then you can chop off the performance center, save a bunch of money,
Mhm.
and have them work the indies where you need promotions to exist. So I don't know. I'm not fully in the boat of that this is going to kill the independent wrestling scene,
Sure.
because they need promotions to have their talent run.
Yeah.
Now, what it's going to do is maybe artificially boost the wrestlers who are ID'd by WWE to become bigger stars and draws, in which case then they will take those draws from promotions.
Mhm.
But I think that all remains to be. Will that do damage?
Right.
Who's to say? I don't know. Because also, if they are constantly have to go over and they can't lose, then if I'm the
Yeah.
booker, am I really going to be pushing him into like the world titles, quote unquote, world title scene of my promotion? I
Right.
don't. It's like all these sort of things.
It's
We're also
hard. It's hard
it's hard.
to,
I
you
think
know,
it's too early, because the training school aspect of it, I'm confused about it.
yeah. I mean, listen, I could just be completely wrong in, 2 years and like, you know. But I also just think like there's just too much going on independent wise, like with promotions, that it's hard to see that happen. But like if I was to ask you, this is a serious question. Who are
Mhm.
the top
We only ask
independent
serious questions on the show, but go ahead.
Of course, of course. Um I rarely ask serious questions. Um who are the top indie stars right now?
We had this about female stars last week, and we
Yes, because
sort of struggled. We come up with some names, but we sort of struggled.
because to me, anyone that people name are already signed to companies.
I
Right?
think,
Like the past couple of years, people be like Monster Slam or Speedball. Hey, guess
yeah,
what? They're both signed
yeah,
contractually to companies.
yeah. You have to throw out everyone that's already signed to TNA. Um, I mean, I think easily a lot of people will name GCW guys and guys with
Sure.
I think a lot of them will say that, but I don't know. Like me. I've always liked. There's some people in the South like DPW and stuff. Like I'm a big fan of Adam Priest. Is he a big star? I don't really would say that, but he's a name. Alec Price is another guy that I'm interested in. Um, Titus Alexander is probably up there for me, easily up there.
Mhm.
Um, again, we're only just thinking of American stars. We're not
Right,
thinking of
right, right,
like Europe or Mexico or any of these
right.
places.
This is for the idea of the ID situation.
I guess you could also say Starboy Charlie, because he also did like a
Yeah,
Noah tour.
yeah.
Um,
I the
I
top
don't know.
couple names that come to my mind are, Alexander on the West Coast.
Mhm.
Technically Megan Bain.
Yeah,
She's the only I think she's the only indie star I see her name continuously pop up, at least.
I think
And that's of course
The
partly might
Midnight
be
Heat live
Midnight
out in
Heat.
Seattle. Yeah.
I do hear about them. Violence is Forever, I hear
Yep.
about a lot.
Yep.
Um, and again, we're just going with non-signed entities here. Anyone that's signed to a TNA deal, NWA deal, though most of the NWA people don't wrestle indies, I've noticed.
Yeah.
which is weird. Which is very weird. But yeah, like that proves the point though. There's obviously like some names, but a lot of them are signed. So it's like,
It's tough.
what are you gonna do?
I think I will get worried when promotions start truly involved in
Yes.
this, and it's not that case yet.
Right.
When that happens, that's the point where of worry. And this happened in the UK scene as well, as training schools got involved with the WWE, but promotions did as well. So
yeah,
it's like,
Progress signed on, and
yeah,
that was
ICW, whatever that is.
two of the what I would probably argue two of the three biggest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, with Rev Pro obviously not being one to sign on, but
yeah.
um,
I mean, WXW was also involved, right?
Yeah.
He survived a lot more than everybody else, but
the hope here is that it stays to the schools.
Mhm.
Obviously, any wrestler could sign up for this, but it stays with the schools, not the promotion.
I will say it also is interesting, the list of schools here and the list of schools that are not on here. I'm kind of shocked by like Monster Factory not being on here. I'm not necessarily shocked, but I could have seen it like whatever the school I guess would be for like West Coast Pro, just because of that Chris Hero connection. I'm not.
Well, he's connected to AEW though.
That's you're right. He is connected to AEW because he is a producer, so whatever he is.
I don't know. I don't think anyone ever figured out exactly what he is.
But places like Monster Factory like really shocked me. Like, they developed like Martinez, not Punishment.
Sure.
What's his name? Damian Priest.
Sure, but they don't have a WWE signed entity running it.
Yeah, I think that's really it.
Or a complete connection to like Gabe Sapolsky that I know of. That's the only other one that with the Elite, whatever it's called. So it's like,
so we'll see, I guess, from there. The independent wrestling aspect part, the wrestler specific part of it is, quote, this is from the press release, WWE ID will identify top independent wrestling prospects with an official WWE ID prospect designation and support the developmental journey by providing financial opportunity and assisting with training, mentorship, and development, including access to world-class facilities, I assume the PC, best-in-class training. This is all PC stuff, I have to imagine. WID will give fans the opportunity to follow past these standout prospects of the independent wrestling scene through curated behind-the-scenes content, as well as highlights and matches showcased across WWE social platforms. So what this would also mean to me is that WWE ID prospected talents who will get signed on to contracts, who have already signed to contracts, we'll talk about that in a moment, will get financial aid by WWE, some sort of contract money out of it, whatever that means, and however much money that means. Plus, they'll be able to train in the PC, work indie dates, supposedly. And supposedly those indie matches that they work can be platformed onto WWE Vault or whatever, or on X or whatever for them. So,
okay, so you know what this is? This is just the NIL deals, but for indie stars. That's all this is, which is the same exact thing. By the way, have you?
Go ahead. I was going to say that they do say it is designed to run in parallel with the Next in Line program.
There you go. So, have you ever went on the WWE Recruit website?
Every once in a while, but not recently.
Okay, so I wanted to see what happens if you press apply, and it says college athletes, all other applicants.
Oh, interesting.
Like that
really?
Is the sections. Yeah, which I find very interesting.
I assume they'll probably add a WWE ID.
They seem like they will be announcing the ID prospects as well eventually.
Yes, so they do have a WWE ID Twitter or X page where they tweeted out a picture of somebody's eyes with the number 20 hashtag WWE ID. So the belief here is that they have signed already 20 independent wrestling talents, and they're slowly going to unveil who they are.
Yeah.
A lot of people had guesses about the first one. A lot of people think it might be a Charlie Manson or whatever his name is. To me, I looked at around. I think I'm pretty confident that this is Timothy Thatcher as number 20, which is kind of funny to me. Why is it Thatcher? They both have a scar in between their eyes. if you look at Thatcher's photos. But it's kind of funny to me. This is a guy that not is, I guess you could say, the American indie scene. He's also European indie scene. So now that we're not talking just American, we might be talking Europe as well. This is a guy that's working Noah, and this is a guy Noah who has been working with WWE as well. So that's interesting to me. And then this is a guy who also previously already worked in NXT. So I'm going to be interested to see how many former WWE talents, NXT talents, will be getting this ID.
Right. For what it's worth, they do have all the NIL athletes listed, so this is not like you can figure out who these people are. It's not like it's secretive information. But yeah, I think it's interesting. We'll wait and see. I don't know how to feel yet, about the scene, but we were talking about a scene that, as far as I'm concerned, is listen,
not doing hot now.
Here's the perfect note. Like, everyone's saying, oh, this is gonna be like the UK. One of the brightest prospects of the past 2 years was Jay Malachi. He got signed instantly by WWE. Right? Like, it's an easier pathway for the wrestlers, but
Jay
at the
Malachi
end of the
also,
day,
barely broke out of the Southeast, if I remember.
He essentially became DPW champion.
Yeah,
and
but I don't recall him ever really breaking out of the Southeast.
No, but he was at least making, waves, right?
Yeah.
And this is my point. This is how it's always still going to work. If you make any waves whatsoever, one of these companies is going to sign you. And listen, I look at Jay Malachi, who, by the way, if you don't know, that is Javon Evans, folks. I look at him as one of the legitimate top prospects in wrestling now, and that's how it's gonna go. It's just how it's gonna go. It's how it's been going.
Yeah,
as well. Now there's just a more official way, and
yeah, I think to me a lot of this is just like, this is more naming something that has already been sort of behind the scenes.
Yeah,
making more.
I mean, AEW should announce their own version. Why not?
I agree. I don't disagree there. I think that would be a good idea. Get Titus Alexander as an AEW prospect.
You gotta book for your future. We've talked about this. You got to look forward as much as you have to look into the now. I understand AEW for the past couple of months have been so focused on getting people into, they're building for that TV deal. But now it's all about the future. That TV deal is locked in. You are making money, right? It's time to go forward, book for the future. And yes, I think, is Ring of Honor going on TV? Can that be their NXT? That's what I'd hope. But they just made Chris Jericho champion. So what the fuck do I know?
Well, that does remind me. I was planning on putting Ring of Honor on here as well. But I guess we'll talk about it real quickly. There's the rumor going around right now that Ring of Honor might have a deal in play with True TV. Obviously, that being a Warner Media property, True TV. Yeah. A smaller channel, obviously, compared to TBS and TNT, but they are like CW, turning it into more of a sports-oriented program or sports-oriented programming on True TV. So the idea is that they might bring on Ring of Honor, which is why you're seeing more Ring of Honor involvement on AEW television. Why Chris Jericho has the title once again, because he had the title that first time when it became the Ocho, because they were trying to get a television deal for Ring of Honor. So it is all these sort of things of, more tag teams. A lot stuff is happening in Ring of Honor right now because it looks like they might be going to the True TV route. How do you feel about Ring of Honor potentially, finally, after all this time, popping up on television?
That's a good thing. It's a good thing. More wrestling on TV is a good thing for people. Just to go back to the chat real quick before I talk about Ring of Honor, Dylan, bite me, and Connor. No, I agree with you. I think that's a part that I have to think about. Like, is this going to bring the WWE style just to the indies? If that's the case, then yeah, this is not great.
Connor's comment, it'll pass. Don't want to see everybody doing WWE style and can't fit everyone. Hence departures. Can't utilize everyone at least to their full potential.
I understand that. And I hope that, I hope the headlock doesn't take over the indies, among other things. So I get that. And if that does become a problem, we'll see. Again, too early to tell. I don't know what will ultimately happen. Back to Ring of Honor. It's a good thing. I mean, I think Ring of Honor should be their NXT. I do. And not exactly the same, obviously. Because if they're going to bring in a Stephanie Vaquera Julia, they're not going to appear on Ring of Honor. They're going to appear on AEW. But NXT has, somehow, some way continued to create interest in waves. And I think when you look at Ring of Honor could benefit from more than just being a great pay-per-view by every 5 months, right? Like that's what Ring of Honor has become is, oh, I'm not going to watch the TV, but let me know when the pay-per-view comes around because that's going to be a pretty good show. And that has just been rinse and repeat since Tony bought it. If Ring of Honor gets on TV, though, you're going to have to try now. You're going to have to put a little bit of effort into this. And I know some people watch Ring of Honor and some people like Ring of Honor currently. And listen, that's great. But it needs to be more than squash matches, right? It needs to be more than that. And I believe it was you that told me that, like, they've put together Big Shotty and EJ and Duca. Like, these are the little things you like to see, right?
They turned the infantry and put them with Shane Taylor Promotions.
I saw that as well, which that there are moves being made on the promotion. I like it. That's good things to see. And I think more of that it might be hinting at the TV deal coming because it does seem like there is a little bit more organization all of a sudden rather than match. And listen, if you can give me a reason to watch Ring of Honor, I am for it.
Yes.
Right. And that's what I think them going to TV has to do. That being said, Tony Khan, listen to me, buddy. You need to not book everything.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up is that I do agree. I think Ring of Honor and True TV would make more sense. My concern there is I don't know how many more eyes it will bring to Ring of Honor because I think
it's on TV though.
It's on TV, so I think it can. But it's going to basically it's going to appeal to the AEW fan base, but it's also this sort of thing.
Can it outdo Impact?
Probably. I think it probably.
I don't have Impact on my TV anymore, so
yeah, I don't have an NXT on my TV anymore. I don't get the CW on my Sling app.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah,
I thought the CW was everywhere.
From the Sling portion I'm paying for, it doesn't have CW on it, so I can't watch NXT.
Damn.
Yeah, what a shame. Yeah, the thing I was also thinking about is like, Tony is gonna, if it gets on TV, Tony's gonna have to book this more seriously as its own because it's going to be a show that now you're going to have money invested into it, so you're going to have to put more time and effort into it, and it can't just be a slew of TV matches that don't really matter. I mean, it could, but I don't really think that's going to drive a lot of viewership, depending what Warner Media wants. But then on top of that, it's also like, how would that affect things if this Fox AEW what was it called? I was going to say Soundwave. That's not right. What is it called? AEW Fox deal. What is this TV show called?
Shockwave. I'm not thinking.
Not Soundwave. Shockwave. How would that affect like Shockwave as well, right? You're going to have now 4 shows that are on TV that you're all going to have to take seriously, right? So it's the sort of question of how would all this work? How would Tony Khan be able to book all of this and do his normal duties with Fulham and Jaguars? He was barely doing it now, but also becomes very obvious when he is not trying for a TV deal for Ring of Honor because he stops putting effort into Ring of Honor.
Right.
So
it is funny. All these things happened like this week and last week that we noted.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what happens at the Ring of Honor deal. If it does happen, what changes? I think also the night of television and how that affects Shockwave is interesting. I think Ring of Honor, when we talked about Shockwave, I think we sort of talked about like, oh yeah, it would make sense to do it on Thursdays, right? Well, Ring of Honor is on Thursdays. And if Ring of Honor gets a TV deal, then Ring of Honor might stay on Thursdays. Well, then where does Shockwave go? Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday? Those are your only days left. One of them is a pay-per-view day. One of them is which is also a football day. One of them is Monday Night Raw. One of them is NXT, and one of them is SmackDown. What are you gonna pick? Unless you want to go head to head to your own programming, You're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I were to do something, I would put Shockwave or probably Shockwave against NXT
Thursdays.
on Tuesdays.
Oh,
I would do that, honestly. I don't know if I would do
put-
Ring of Honor against NXT.
I
Right?
put Shockwave on Thursday though.
Well, then who is Ring of Honor against? You know,
Who cares?
That's fair. But I think in terms of perception, I would put Shockwave on Fox because it being on Fox, it will immediately get way more
They'll
ratings
win.
than CW.
Yeah.
And so perception wise, people will see AEW winning. So you should put on. And also, what else does like Fox have on Tuesdays, right? I don't really know.
Is that happening anymore?
I don't know.
I haven't heard about Shockwave in forever.
I haven't heard about it in a while, so I don't really know. But we'll see. We'll certainly see. But again, we've talked about it before with Ring of Honors that you need other booking names there. It's just a matter of who and what, I guess. I don't want, I would like for him to have other booking people to book his stuff, but I don't want Jimmy Jacobs in charge of Ring of Honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about who it is as well.
Well, to be fair, I just don't want Tony to have to run 7 shows.
I agree. I agree.
So pick your poison, throw someone in there, and see what happens.
Speaking about what's a great transition here? Speaking about, we'll go back to WWE and talk about the WWE quote unquote departures that took place this past week. We had 3 of them. There were, first of all, before I talk about this part of it, departures. A lot of people had issue with the media using the term departures. I understand where people coming from as like, oh, this is like WB PR, but I also feel like it's not that big of a story because 2 of these people were like actively released, and one of them, their contract ran out and WWE decided not to renew them. So I wouldn't really describe them as released, but they are leaving WWE because they no longer have a contract. So part of me is like, departures does feel like the word that would fit the best to all 3 of these people. But do you have any big opinions on the term departures here?
Not at all.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I think it's at the mountain of a molehill is what I'm seeing here. The term.
Yes, two were fired. One wasn't, but kind of was because they didn't want him back. It's like
they didn't renew his contract.
But like you can't call him releases because he wasn't released.
Exactly. So these 2 people that were properly released were Indy Hartwell and Tegan Knox, and then Baron Corbin. His contract was not renewed by WWE. And so he is no longer a WWE talent. So what does that mean? Baron Corbin could presumably show up anywhere he wants as soon as he wants. Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell, however, have to wait their 90 days because they were, of course, released.
There's no way Baron Corbin wrestles ever again.
You think he's done? How old is this man?
This guy's 40 years old, doesn't really like wrestling to begin with. Only like I just don't see it. I mean, the funny part is he put in the work the past year or so. Really, and this is when they were like, all right, enough's enough. When he was no longer a main event piss poor star.
A guy that they actually blamed for poor booking decisions because he was
he improved himself. He improves himself, right? And in the end, it was like, oh well, better luck next time. And I mean, I'm sure he has a lot of money. He was a main star for WWE for a lot of years there.
I wonder if he had a main roster deal while he was in NXT still.
He could keep going, and I've seen some of his like TikToks or whatever where he cooks like meats and stuff. Just keep doing that. That's pretty cool. Good for you. Like he's done. Also, you could tell me if I'm wrong here. Wasn't Tegan Knox released previously?
Yeah, she was one of the faces on the Thanos Gauntlet. Interesting. Interesting.
Okay. So I feel bad for Tegan Knox.
Everyone does. I feel bad for her as well.
And I think people have been a little too mean to her this week as well. They're like, oh, what a big deal. It's like, man, she was not lucky. Okay. Like she was going to win the Mae Young Classic. And then her knees failed her.
And then
Right.
they tried it again, and her other knee failed her.
Like, yeah, like freak injuries kept her away. And then when they were getting behind her NXT, she got hurt again.
Mhm.
Now she's not getting hurt at all anymore. But they had given up by then.
But also, like
Terrible,
wrestling
terrible luck.
wise, shell of a former self because of all these injuries.
Right, which
And it's
is
also like a
natural.
decade. At this point, we're almost a decade later, right? To like her peak in like the indies.
Yeah, pretty much. Her peak in the indies were like 16, 17, I think.
Yeah, it's
So
like 8 years,
I,
7, 8
I
years.
feel bad. She is someone that I thought could have made it really far.
Mhm.
I get it from WWE sense, and maybe the ability to actually wrestle now and just do what she wants will be
Yeah.
good for her. And then Indy Hartwell, really weird because she was on SmackDown like this past episode, like as she was released.
Yep.
So that was weird. I don't know. She's not very good.
No,
I feel bad though. Like I don't
I
want
feel
anyone
bad
to
as
lose their
well.
job.
She was not that great on NXT and main roster stuff. Obviously, I think the thing people most remember about her is the Index storyline, where that was not really about
That's
wrestling and more about the relationship between her and Dexter Loomis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think if that's indicative of Indy Hartwell's wrestling ability, then hey, that's what people are saying. The best with her the best thing in her career was doing that.
I also remember that she won the NXT Women's title in the random like Roxanne storyline where they just took the belt off of her for some reason.
Yep.
Then they put it in a ladder match and she won it. Then she got drafted to Raw.
Yep.
And
And
then she
lost
got
so much
hurt.
weight.
Yeah, like there was a wild run there for her. It sucks for anyone that loses their job, but
Well, there's a couple of things here. Is one,
hers is the most random, honestly.
it's interesting to me, by the way, of like how they announced the WB ID deal.
Yeah.
And we know they are signing all these Legends deals and signing all these people.
Armando
And
Estrada shut out.
we know that they just are about to sign seemingly 20 people to an independent wrestling contract thing that they say they're going to financially, give them money for all this sort of stuff. And then meanwhile, they don't renew Baron Corbin and cut 2 women. Like it's in the same week of saying, oh, we've publicly announcing we've signed on 20 independent wrestlers. We're also going to cut 2 women.
I thought they were going to release more people. So
yeah, I mean, it says that this is they're done for now, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, any thoughts on where these people might go if they continue their career?
TNA,
all 3 TNA.
Definitely Indy Hartwell because isn't that where what's her name? What's her name now?
I don't know.
I don't even remember what her name in NXT was, but they used to be a duo.
Tessa Blanchard,
the Australian one.
How do I not know
the one that's with Cardona?
Oh, yeah, the one that has a neck injury that is out.
Oh, I didn't know she had a neck injury. Tough.
Yes. What was her indie name? I don't remember her name.
Is it like Stephanie? Is it Stephanie?
Steph DeLander.
Hey, there we go.
Is that her indie name?
Yeah, that is her indie name.
Yeah, they would immediately team up in TNA. The problem is that Steph DeLander
Knockouts titles, baby.
They have knockouts titles in your future. Problem is that Steph just went out with a neck injury. So,
long-term booking. Long-term booking. And Tegan, I hope Tegan does a little bit of everything. Get back on the Euro scene thing.
Get back in the Europe scene. Help that scene.
Yeah. Go face Danny Luna.
Go in TNA.
I mean, I can see her go to TNA too, but I do think that she's gonna be if she wants to. I feel like she can, kind of push herself to try to recapture some magic. Obviously, like she's limited now because of all the injuries, and she has the poor knee braces like everywhere. Again, like when you tear she essentially destroyed her knees. There wasn't just tears, like those were destroyed. Indie scene, TNA is not shocking. TNA, we talked about it last week. They're in need of knockouts, so like
They're losing Jordan Grace, so
while this is terribly timed for these two wrestlers, it is well timed for TNA to try and get both of them.
Yep. Plus it's 90 days. So what is 90 days from 90 days?
The live show? Is that the live show?
90 days from now. Oh, that's the
90 days from Friday.
End of January.
Damn, they won't be able to be on the live Genesis show from Dallas.
Connie Houston in the chat, I think, brings up a good point for like indie. It could be NWA or maybe MLW.
MLW is a good shout.
MLW is actually a really good shout because their women's division is also filled with wrestlers that I wouldn't. Beyond United Kai, I think it's also filled with wrestlers that aren't that great. So maybe Indy Hartwell will look better in comparison. Now I do not want to.
I almost made a bad joke, but I'm not gonna.
Tegan Knox,
Should I make it?
Sure, if you like.
All right. Well, by the time their 90 days are up, they could be surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble.
Tegan Knox comes back for a third time.
Just for the Royal Rumble.
Just for the Royal Rumble.
You know, remember that year where WWE was like, we need people for the Women's Rumble? I was like, you have people signed. What do you mean you need people? So much so they brought in Knockouts champion Mickie James. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is the biggest deal of all time. And like nothing came from it. Now when Jordan Grace appeared this year, something came from it. A year-long signing.
If Baron Corbin continues, I know we keep saying TNA, but it does feel like TNA would fit for him.
I saw someone say this is the type of guy 2024 All Japan would bring in, and I was like, yes!
Honestly, that could be fun. I mean, obviously, like a lot of his repertoire is built from like the Big Boss Man. So like, there's something about that interests me.
No chance this guy goes to Japan after all this.
No, at 40, this guy's definitely not going to Japan. He is going to sign up with TNA, MLW.
No one.
Oh my God, easily. MLW as part of that, the Mr. Saint Laurent WTF faction where it's all like a bunch of like former WWE stars where Dijak's in it, and like
who can pay him the most money without being AEW? Like obviously that's not happening.
I guess it would be probably TNA.
Like I don't see him doing anything unless he's getting paid silly money for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Do any of these people do you think there would be any interest in AEW picking up any of these three people?
I
think
maybe
the only one that to me screams Tegan Knox.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think Tegan should, well, I mean, if AEW offers her a contract, just sign it. But like I think Tegan should work her way back up a little, and then I could see it happen.
Yeah. Hey, Ring of Honor True TV. If you need a name,
I think she'd be good for Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
By the way, we were naming all these prospects and whatnot that like AEW signed Billy Starks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true.
and Nick Wayne.
Mm-hmm. They do got some people. People.
But again, this kind of plays to the not to go back to the old topic, but this plays to the moment someone makes noise, they're getting signed. So it's like, Nick Wayne was signed before he turned 18.
Yeah, they wanted to
was signed when she was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Malachi was signed when he was 19.
Yeah,
you see this, like we're not even giving these guys. We never get, and which is great. Like good for the young wrestlers, but like if you have bright potential at the age of 18, like,
you have to wonder how many contract opportunities Titus Alexander has been given. I think he's probably one of the top prospects in the indie scene right now, and it's
I'm still shocked he's not signed.
AEW, you're signing people at like 18, 19. How old is Titus Alexander?
He's 23.
Yeah, that's what there's 24 actually. 24 in September. This guy's a grandpa of the indie scene. We'll see what happens, I guess, of all these sort of people, but hope for the best. I hate to see like Baron Corbin, that's the cost of doing business. Your contract ran out. That I think that's fine. But I hate to see people let go, especially the same week where they're announcing 20 independent wrestlers that they're signing. I think is a little scummy.
I mean, I'm sure the money is not that much, but it's money.
Yeah, but I'm also sure that I wouldn't be shocked if the pay that these women got are equal to 20 independent wrestlers.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
WWE being WWE.
Well, maybe what these two women could do is they could hop over to Japan, and they can maybe fight for and be part of this battle royal for the new
Oh,
GHC Women's Championship. That was formally announced this week as well. The formation of the GHC Women's Championship in Noah that was announced at Monday Magic Autumn. The championship will be determined in a Magic Rumble match where 10 women will compete. The last woman standing will be crowned the inaugural GHC Women's Championship. This will take place November 11th. So thoughts on the GHC Women's Championship being formed and coming over to Noah?
it was inevitable. I mean, Noah started to slowly feature Joshi talent dating back to what, 2022, I think.
Roughly.
And Marufuji had talked about how, because someone asked him about it, and he had talked about how they wouldn't introduce the title until they felt they had a not a roster, because Noah was never going to have its own roster, but a comfortable pool of wrestlers that they work with to make it happen.
Yeah.
I always thought it would happen sooner than later. One, because, at the end of the day, while Noah and New Japan work together and things like that, competition is still competition. I'd argue that Noah has done a better job at involving Joshi than New Japan has.
Yeah, I would also say, I imagine earlier, only because the IWGP Women's title has been around for about a year, 2 years, or whatever it's been around at this point.
2 years as of historic crossover.
So I would have thought that maybe Noah would have done something similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that they haven't had the title and they've done better at utilizing Joshi than the company that does have the title. So like that alone gives me hope for the belt. Like, do I wish it wasn't being crowned in a battle royal?
Yeah, that
Sure
kind of
do.
showcases how much they care about this title.
Yeah, so it's like, but they love Monday Magic. They like Noah loves Monday Magic. Noah sells out Monday Magic weekly or whenever months they do it. So like I understand why they want to do this mysterious thing. And the other part of this that is the unspoken part of it is you have to realize there are probably 3 factors working into crowning this champion. You very likely have Mari Gold because they were involved in the video, so we don't have to act like they're not. Marvelous, which of course is where the great Sakuya Riko Kawahata works. Takumi's popped up.
Same with
And so on.
Bushi, we'll get to that.
Right. Yeah. And then freelancers as well. Like those are, you're working through a lot. This isn't New Japan just being like stardom, like done, So
and I know they pop in less regularly than everybody else, but they have popped in before. They do have access to Tokyo Joshi Pro via there's a relationship, not really, they're not obviously owned by.
They're under the same umbrella.
Exactly.
That's
so
about it.
if they want to, they could also bring in some Tokyo Joshi Pro.
They could, and they should, but they won't. Which is so weird. Doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, my guess is your first champion is Mari Gold connected. And you go from there. You have the first defense on the New Year show, which will be good. That'll be a good spot for a big first defense. But that's like why I saw the Battle Royal. I was like, oh, so many people probably didn't want to lose, which is not ideal already off the rip, unless it's a title match. Because if you were to do a tournament, you got to have multiple people lose. So we'll see. It's a we'll see type thing, but it's another title, which hopefully I'm hoping more so than anything uses freelancers because I think that's good for an opportunity for certain wrestlers. But my guess is Mari Gold will be handling most of it.
That does remind me of the GHC Hardcore Championship
Yes, which is
that they
only
unveiled during Monday
Magic.
Magic a couple years ago or whatever, and
Yeah.
it was on who was it on? Masato Tanaka first, then
Yeah.
Ninja Mac, and now it's on Shuji Ishikawa. And it's still on Shuji Ishikawa, and he did wrestle at Monday Magic, so it is like we'll see what happens. But
that is a Monday Magic only belt specifically.
So I also wonder if this could also be a Monday Magic only belt.
My guess is Monday Magic and a big show here and there.
Yeah,
because Monday Magic comes around a decent amount.
And the GHC Hardcore title has also been defended on non-Monday shows, like Shuji Ishikawa versus Ninja Mac was like Destination or something.
Yeah, so like that's I think that's a possible, but I don't think the title will disappear. Like if a Margot wrestler has it, you will see said title.
Yeah, or Shuji Ishikawa all of a sudden shows back up in All Japan.
Here's all we should take right now. Not that we'll ever remember this in a year, but what title will be defended more in the year 2025? The IWGP Women's title or the GHC Women's title? We don't even have the GHC title yet. We don't have the champion yet, but it's a question.
Damn. I honestly do not know. I would maybe say the GHC Women's, but the fact that it could just be a Monday Magic, it's like, I don't know.
I could see it defended on a big Margold show too, though, here and there. So,
well, also at some point they're gonna have the Great Sakuya have the title,
hold it. I'm sure. Yeah, that would make sense. So, I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, I mentioned already. Let's talk about Kota Ibushi. So weird news coming out of the Kota Ibushi camp this week. Dramatic.
That's the only kind of news that comes out of the Kota Ibushi camp.
Dramatic DDT put out a sort of a post, an article on their blog column, dramaticddt.wordpress.com. What is going on with DDT and Kota Ibushi? Basically, it talks about how Kota Ibushi has been working for DDT for a little bit every once in a while, along with Glade, along with all these other places. And then all of a sudden, his 2 DDT matches from August 25th and September 8th were both scrubbed off of Wrestle Universe and can't be watched anymore.
Scrub. Sorry.
And his upcoming matches have all been canceled as well. He doesn't seem to have an injury. He's still working Glate. He still is working AEW. And then later in the week, I believe, it was also announced that he's going to be working Marvelous, which again is an all-women's Joshi promotion, but they do have male wrestlers every once in a while, so that is one thing. But basically, it looks like his relationship with DDT has come to an end. The article does go into something about how it looks like a lot of the DDT talent didn't really like working with Kota Ibushi, or rather didn't like the idea of Kota Ibushi coming into DDT at this point in time. And so maybe and Kota Ibushi took some offense to that, it looks like, possibly. I forget who it was. It was Mao brought up Golden Star Syndrome as a thing. So it looks like it didn't really work out. There was some clashing of relationships between the roster of DDT and Kota Ibushi. And it looks like Kota Ibushi is no longer the company. Something has happened. We don't know.
Do you think Kota Ibushi has that like the Grand Metalik situation going on? Like, you gotta do headlocks. None of this high flying shit.
Yeah.
And then they instantly got rid of him.
Yeah.
Listen, man. I'm not gonna say that people should just let go of Kota Ibushi the year 2024. But I'm going to say exactly that. You should let go of Kota Ibushi the year 2024. I understand the Golden Lover super fans and the Kenny Omega super fans really want this Kota fella to work. But listen, Kota has run out of options. Okay? The fact that you are only saying Glate and AEW as the surefire places for him to show up, not great. I mean, AEW is good for him, but like,
literally, if he didn't have that contract, what is this guy doing? He's working Glate. He's working Marvelous. He worked Noah. I guess he could go back and work Noah, but
Yeah, we don't know that relationship.
Yeah, he
After
hasn't
that absolute dumpster fire of a match.
Mm-hmm.
I saw. I don't know if I said this to you. I don't know if I said this on the show, but I saw a week or two ago people saying like, "What is your interest of Shinsuke Nakamura and AEW?" I think Ibu tweeted this in, next year or something, and a lot of people were like, no, he's wash.
A lot of rumors.
These same people like Kota Ibushi.
I would, if I had to pick between Kota Ibushi and Shinsuke Nakamura in AEW, it's 100% Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, because Shinsuke, like, I don't know, he just doesn't have to try. I don't know what's still in there. Like, if you put him in a ring with Okada, what's he gonna do? I don't know. If you put Kota Ibushi in a ring with anyone, it's not gonna be great anymore.
Yeah, I mean, how many singles matches has this guy even done since coming back? I feel like a lot of his matches have also been like
he almost killed himself against Joey Janela.
Yeah, that was awful.
That was so bad. Does Kota Ibushi have almost all the really, really bad, terrible matches the past couple of years?
So he wrestled. He has had 12 matches since he's returned from injury for 2 years. Remember, he was also announced again. Remember when he got announced for that New Japan Cup in 2022?
Can we just look at his last AEW match real quick?
Well, I'm going to go through all of them. So first was,
but this match is so funny.
We'll go through it. So first was a 7-minute blood sport match against Mike Bailey.
I
think that was fine, if I recall correctly.
Fine. It wasn't long.
Wasn't long. Then it was a 25-minute match against Joey Janela, which we went on this program and said sucked so much ass it angered us. Then he showed up for Blood and Guts, where
I was there live,
where he wrestled against great wrestlers: Takeshita, Pac, Yuta, Moxley, and Castagnoli.
It was fine.
I'm just noting great wrestlers. Then a month later, he showed up in Glate in a multi-man elimination match.
Yeah.
Then he showed up in All in London in a fan tag, what he wasn't that good in, if I recall.
This next match. Not this next match. No.
Then he showed up at I don't even remember this Wrestle Dream one. Konosuke Takeshita, Sammy Guevara, Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. I have no memory.
It has a Dave gave it 4 3/4. That's
it
was a 7.68 on Cage Match.
I have no memory of this. No. I like it. Did I come on the show?
Sammy Guevara was in within the Don Callis family?
Yeah, this was right before he got injured.
Oh, okay.
Then
this
there
next
was
one kills me.
Yeah, I remember. I remember this. I don't remember Kota Ibushi in it at all.
This was the video game match, right? It was sponsored by the video game.
Yes, like a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have Brian Cage and the Don Callis family, which is ironic because Brian Cage is now lined with the Don Callis family.
Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs, Kyle Fletcher, and Konosuke Takeshita versus Jericho, Omega, Kota Ibushi, and No More BS Paul White. Which, again, I don't remember anything about this match other than Powerhouse
Paul White getting killed off.
Powerhouse Hobbs slamming Paul White and killing off No More BS.
Oh, God, the Golden Jets sucked so much ass, man.
Then he was gone for a couple months. Kota Ibushi then shows up against Marufuji at New Year Noah to put on a match that is rated a 0.91 on Cage Match.
33 minutes.
Then he has a singles match, a 5-minute time limit draw against Daisuke.
That was
Plate.
I watched that one. That's legitimately his best match. It's coming back.
Then he has another 6-man in DDT. He shows up in DDT again as a 6-man, and there's another one the next month after that. And then he's back in Glate a month later in another multi-man. This guy's only been doing multi-mans. He has had 1, 2, 3, 4 singles matches since he returned in a almost 2-year span. He has 4 singles matches. And you said the best one was a 5-minute time limit draw.
Out of the singles matches, yeah. Probably
against Daisuke Sakamoto, which even then it has a 5.46.
It wasn't good. It was fine.
What did the Mike Bailey one get rated on Cage Match? Let's see.
That might get rated high.
Where is it? 7.51. So that is, according to them, the best match Kota Ibushi has had since his return.
Both of them, mind you, sub 10 minutes and not regular matches.
Yes, the Joey Janela one. Where's that one rated? Well, that one's rated 7.68. Way too high. Way too high. Oh,
that match stunk.
Stunk so bad.
Stinky poo poo.
Woo! Yeah, that's
How did we get here? All right, Ibushi doesn't have options anymore.
Yeah, so he's running out of options. He has nowhere to turn. He's the Nakajima, but at least he has an AEW contract. Unlike
Let's just say this: he's lucky his best friend's Kenny Omega.
I agree. Now, I did brought this up to you. Is that like he's options? However, I am going to say that I would probably take. I would not. That is, I don't think it's an option, but I would not say anymore that New Japan is a complete write-off for Kota Ibushi. Obviously, he has a lot of issues with the people backstage in New Japan. He obviously mentioned Yakuza things, which are not great in Japan.
He did.
There is a new president of the company in Hiroshi Tanahashi, a guy that his former tag team partner and friend, I have to imagine. And also Kenny Omega is back working slightly with New Japan right now. So you have to imagine he might be putting in a word for Kota Ibushi and trying to figure things out on his behalf. So I wouldn't be shocked if Kota Ibushi showed back up in New Japan. Like I said, I don't see it as a viable option, but I don't think it's a complete write-off anymore.
I get it. And here's the thing. If I'm New Japan, I'm not even considering it.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't blame you at all.
You know, like I'm not even like listening. I'm like, no, that's no. Yeah, do you remember what he said to us? Do you remember what he Yeah, like no. I was trying to think what's the last great Kota Ibushi match? And I'm going off his cage match. I don't remember any of these matches. I don't remember the Shingo 4 3/4, according to Dave. I'm sure it was great. From the G1 2021. Do you remember when
it's tough? Like when you're also that great, like I don't remember any specific. I barely remember any specific matches, but all of his matches were pretty great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, no, I get you. Do you remember when he was announced for the New Japan Cup?
Yep.
And I picked him to win.
He might have won in your defense.
He might have. We'll never know.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Well, speaking of people having nowhere else to turn, how is this the transition? Speaking of people that have nowhere else to turn.
Oh, this is definitely about Goldberg.
Could be about Goldberg. So we'll go with Goldberg. Speaking of people that have nowhere else to turn, Goldberg has officially announced his retirement from professional wrestling, but is going to be in a match next year for WWE. So, Scotty, add him to the roster of wrestlers that are retiring next year.
Here we go. Get ready, everyone.
So, Goldberg.
Meiko Satomura. John Cena. Hiroshi Tanahashi. And Goldberg.
So during an appearance on SEC Network Saturday afternoon, he announced that he officially will take his retirement match sometime next year. We don't know when it will be, obviously, except next year. But we do know also it will take place in WWE. He thanked Nick Khan, Chris Gentle, and Paul Levesque. So we'll see. Obviously, on top of that, it already
isn't getting attention again. Thank God.
This also be stated that at Bad Blood, we had that segment with him and Gunther, so it really feels like likely Gunther would be his last opponent. But it's just a matter of who it would be. So, thoughts on Goldberg officially announcing his retirement from WWE? He tried with AEW, didn't work out, but he's back at WWE here.
Well, he shit on AEW like 2 months ago, so yeah, I was pretty sure that wasn't it.
He praised AEW, and then he was silent, and all of a sudden he's against AEW. I wonder what happened. But back in WWE, probably Gunther. Any interest in this Goldberg retirement match?
No.
No.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. No, because I care about the other 3 retiring 100 times more. But
Sure.
yes, in the terms of this is still a very big legend. I don't care what anyone says about Goldberg. This is a very big legend retiring.
Mhm.
And I'm always interested in the Goldberg car crash match. I can't lie. Like that is always intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do it in Atlanta.
Hey, they could. That's not a bad idea.
I would like them to do it there. I would like it to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
AK not do it in Saudi. So
yeah, that's always a possibility for sure.
When Goldberg's involved, always a possibility.
Yeah.
Maybe they should run him an Undertaker.
Well, they could also do it at WrestleMania, you know?
How many? Yeah, but that's Cena's last Mania. Like, they don't need another thing. But this is we've talked about this. This is another thing for WWE to lean on for like a month or two in 2025. They're just unstoppable. At this point, I hope The Rock doesn't show up. They don't need him. Well, they could. He's gonna show up. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
I don't disagree. But yeah, Goldberg, he'll have that match at some point. I do like the idea of Atlanta. Obviously, I don't think they have a show announced for Atlanta anytime soon. So that is not a bad idea. I think it would make sense for me. WrestleMania, I agree. Like it could work at WrestleMania, but I think it's also, to be fair, if you're going to have this match against Gunther, it feels like he should maybe lose the title, because I am unsure if Goldberg will lose.
So yeah. I'm just thinking like there's a chance next year that Gunther loses to John Cena and Goldberg.
Gunther loses the title of John Cena WrestleMania.
Don't get me wrong. I'm all in on him losing the belt to Cena.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Okay, here's how we book it. Gunther versus Cena. Cena wins because Gunther was distracted by Goldberg. And Cena wins the title. That way Gunther's protected, and then you have the match in Atlanta or whatever, the next pay-per-view or whatever. And it's Gunther versus Goldberg, and Gunther gets squashed in 3 minutes.
If an old man was still booking, I would think for sure that was what would be happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think Triple H is way too predictive of Gunther too. I just watched a crown jewel match where Cody couldn't even beat him clean.
Yeah, we'll get to crown jewel in a moment. But yeah, that's it for Goldberg here. Speaking of WCW, before we get into more reviews and stuff, Eric Bischoff is back, Scotty.
I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Got a knack for making things better.
You have a knack for making things better, Eric Bischoff.
That's his theme song.
Excuse me, sir. You do not. You succeeded once 30 years ago and then failed at WCW, TNA, WWE, and now you're going to show up at MLW and book a bad show, I'm sure.
Do you know what his answer for that is?
What's that?
I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Got a knack for making things better for 83 weeks. Continue. Oh, shit. Oh, God.
MLW has announced Eric Bischoff for their one-shot show in Queens on Thursday, December 5th. MLW hyping this as Bischoff promoting a show in, quote, enemy territory, after going against the Northeast-based WWE while leading WCW during the Monday Night Wars. The last job he had in wrestling, technically, I guess, would be AEW for that one spot. But his last behind-the-scenes role was for WWE as a failed booker. Enemy territory. 30 years ago. Go ahead.
I don't know.
MLW writes, quote, Bischoff will have total control over MLW for one night only. From matchmaking to the TV trucks, Bischoff will oversee the event in his vision. The unique opportunity for Bischoff to call the shots came about during yada, yada, yada. So
wait, hold on. Continue.
The unique opportunity. You said, hold on, and then continue. Oh boy. That's a rough. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know if anyone talked about it, but I'm the only one that seems to think about this. That picture of Eric Bischoff, that's like him and his sad face and his faces. I'm pretty confident those are AEW produced photos that he got those done when he worked on AEW that one time. I'm like 99% sure that he got those from AEW, which is funny that he uses them all to bash AEW. Anyways. So yeah, Eric Bischoff's back. He's going to be allegedly booking a night of MLW. What are the odds that this is going to be good? I'm 100%. We are 100% watching this, Scotty. We are 100%.
He's got to end it right, baby. There's so many of these.
This guy sucks so much.
This guy stinks.
He's
big mistake.
This guy succeeded at wrestling for 83 weeks, as he'll have you know, and then failed over and over and over and over again. And he is still getting opportunities.
And it was perfect. I'm sorry. I'm done.
It was perfect. Just a picture of Mr. Perfect.
That's what he has. Yeah, this dude stinks. Thinks he really was good. He almost shut down 2 companies. And as I said to you, after what? Never mind. I'm not going to make that joke on here. He almost shut down 2 companies, which I think is impressive. He also booked a terrible SmackDown for all of certainly not 83 weeks. Hell, not even 8.3 weeks.
Maybe a couple of weeks. Then he sat in catering for the rest of his 4 months.
Then they were like, yeah, never mind. That being said, we will watch the show. We will review the show because we have to.
100%.
This is listen. I'll give him this. This is the first time I'm ever willingly excited to watch an MLW show.
The problem with this show, by the way, what does this show look like? 100%. They are going to try to get as many old WCW talent on this show as possible. If they can find a way to get Kevin Nash in the show, they will.
Yeah. You know
who's out there that would be available. I don't know. DDP, is he available?
I don't know.
It's gonna be a WCW Legends night, is my interpretation.
Yeah, something tells me anyone signed to a WWE Legends deal may be told not to, because I don't know if anyone remembers this. MLW kind of sued them.
Good point. Didn't think about that. Great point.
So maybe you get Raven.
Great. Juventud Guerrera, maybe.
Do you have any shit?
We got the Parks back in MLW.
Yeah, we have Vince Russo, bro.
Oh my god. Can we open up?
He's busy doing Piers Morgan instead. Who'd you say?
Open up with Eric Bischoff's guitar.
Juventud? Did you say Juventud?
Yeah, I did say. Say the Deuce.
The Deuce and Domino.
What's great about this is when he showed up in SmackDown in 2019 as the new booker or whatever SmackDown.
Yeah,
he was so incompetent and had no understanding of what modern WWE was doing that they got rid of him in 4 months. Do you think he'll have any idea of what to do with the MLW roster? This feels like even if they're actually giving him any ounce of booking ability for the show and not just appearance fee, even if they were doing that, what would he even do with this roster? He doesn't know who any of these people are. Even the former WWE guys like Dijak or Baron Corbin, if he shows up, won't he have any idea what to do with them or even who they are?
They're definitely getting Chuck Palumbo. No, I have no idea.
It's so dumb that this exists, and
Chronic.
I don't think you can get Chronic anymore, can you? Is
No.
Chronic alive? The two are both guys alive for Chronic?
I don't know. I don't know.
I truly do not know.
No, Brian Adams is not alive. I knew that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So this is great.
Crowbar. That's who you're getting.
I wouldn't be shocked if you get Crowbar, honestly. Yeah. So this is great. This will be fun. I'm interested to see
Terrible.
what we do here.
Absolute garbage.
What was the date? December. I'm gonna make sure it's written down. December 5th. So we'll make sure we discuss MLW.
The new number 2, folks. The new number 2 for one night only. MLW rises to the top.
What's great about the graphic, by the way, is that it says Eric Bischoff's one shot and Eric Bischoff production. In case you didn't know. This, of course, will be live on YouTube. Tickets on sale now. Speaking of things that suck ass.
Wait a minute. I got one more.
One more dunk?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, oftentimes when we talk about MLW, I think just this. It's not for me. But today, when Eric Bischoff runs that show, it still won't be for me. But I will watch it.
I pray to God, Scotty, please don't take Eric Bischoff's one shot and Eric Bischoff production as indicative of what MLW has been all year. Please, for the love of God, don't make this
Buddy, this is my entire thoughts on MLW. And by the way, in my match guide, it's gonna say Eric Bischoff's one shot.
Well, the full title is, of course, Eric Bischoff's one shot and Eric Bischoff production. So please have all of that in there.
God, he's on the NWA. All right, continue.
Surprised he hasn't showed up in the NWA. Speaking of things that suck ass, let's talk about Crown Jewel.
I mean, this sucks less ass. Well, no, it sucks equal ass to Eric Bischoff booking. No, you're
right. Crown Jewel, Riyadh season is upon us in Saudi Arabia. November 2nd, last Saturday. They had the event here in Crown Jewel, and it was, I think it's a fine show, a completely unmemorable, completely skippable. You should skip it anyways, because it's Crown Jewel.
It's not worth it.
But I don't think anything here was great.
No.
Mostly
I like two
good, maybe.
Yeah.
But a lot of this wasn't really too exciting, I thought.
We're gonna make this review about as long as I watched the middle of the show because I was sleeping.
So let's go for it. The Bloodline, or as I like to call it, the Blood Pack, of course. Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, and Tongaloa, no word. Defeat Roman Reigns and the Usos, Jimmy and Jay Uso. 60 minutes and 35 seconds. I will say this match was good for what it was.
It's every Bloodline match where it's just getting you to the next part of the story.
Exactly. They did have Solo Sikoa pin Roman Reigns, which I thought was
you know why?
Why?
Because he's taking it all.
I do think that was probably the right booking decision, especially for going to War Games.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes totally didn't pin him like 7 times in the past 2 months.
And then, of course, you had afterwards Sami Zayn come out, feign allegiance to Solo Sikoa, then immediately turn on him. Then all 4 of these guys, the Bloodline, say we're going to go after Solo Sikoa. Sami Zayn accidentally hits Roman Reigns, and now people are upset. So more infighting of the Bloodline, because that's the booking style of the Bloodline, baby.
You know what? My hot take, wish they didn't do the Sami thing here. I was like, why do we got to do? But then I learned that Raw is also Saudi, so I was like, so like they don't have time to like get this,
Well, I just think it's funny that like in classic like Triple H booking, he immediately puts a faction back together only to have them immediately start fighting with each other.
Yeah. This match was fine. I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew it was building to War Games anyways.
Yeah.
It's actually, here's my one thing. It's unbelievable how over Jey Uso is.
It's pretty big.
Terrifying, actually. This man is going through the crowd and they're singing his song. It's just me, Oos. Day one, it's just me, Oos. Day one, it's just me, Oos. Day one, it's shine them all up, knock them down like this.
Got to hit him with a yeet.
That being said, I do like Jey Uso, so good for him. Though he had one of his slow days on this show where like everything he did was in slow motion. I was like, is this like Tanahashi like knee days? Like some days he just ain't feeling it. Because like him and Braun Breaker was really good a while back. Like he looked fine. This match it was like
it's
super kick.
Look, often Seeker on
super kick.
Often Seeker on the Hall of Fame, and if anything was emblematic of their style, it was slow.
Slow, yeah, like very slow. But yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Who cares?
WWE Women's Tag Team Title 4-way match. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill successfully retained their titles against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, Io Sky and Kairi Sane, and Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. I thought this was better than I expected, but also sloppy. So
yeah, I liked it though. It was my second favorite match because like they did stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the show was not doing stuff.
Stuff was happening, but also it wasn't great.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Like it was like night and day when like Io and Bianca were in there, and then like you'd have Jade
and Lash Legend
and Lash Legend. I think Lash Legend is gonna be pretty good based on my one viewing. That power bomb they did to Kairi, which was like just throwing Kairi onto the
Jackson
ground.
Not really catching her at all.
Jackson just sitting out to make it look like a power bomb. That was a big pop for me. Yeah, I mean it was about what I expected, but better because I thought like again the Eos of the world carried it far enough. The Biancas of the world carried it far enough. Piper Niven looked pretty good. Piper Niven's always been pretty good, so it's not like a big shock. And then you have your Chelsea moments. It was whatever. They like ultimately happy for them to be on the show. The crowd stunk for the match, but that was not a surprise.
Yep. For this crowd, I thought they've been in here for so many years, Scotty. You would think that all of a sudden they respect women in Saudi Arabia. You would think at this point. That's what I've been told. They're changing the landscape of Saudi Arabia by having the women wrestle here. It's fascinating. I'm fascinated to learn.
The funny thing about this show, like besides the
many funny things about the show.
Like I thought, like most of the matches were like fine,
agreed,
except for one.
I don't remember if they teased it all during the match, but on commentary, they are starting to plant seeds of the Bianca Belair Jade Cargill breakup. I don't know if you picked
Thank
up.
God.
They talk about how like Jade seems more focused on posting pictures on Instagram than working.
Yeah. Corey Graves, he was on one.
Oh yeah. What was the thing that the Sami Zayn thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What did he? What was the?
He
phrase?
never misses a chance to like virtue something.
Virtue signal.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I've had enough of Corey Graves tonight, folks. And that was match number 1.
Awful stuff.
And then the next match, he wasn't helpful at all either. I was like, dude, get out of here, bro.
Next match.
Do some bad news, Barrett.
Freaking Seth Rollins versus Big.
This was fun.
I like this match. This is one of my favorite matches of the night. Honestly, I went to
Bronson Reed. Good at his.
I really like Bronson Reed.
I'm a monster.
Earned way more respect from me because he's wearing some MF Doom gear.
I noticed that. I originally, like, I saw the colors. I was like,
well, the colors also confused me because I was like,
yeah,
what album is this? I don't think this is any album.
I think he was like, I don't know. I was like, are you just trying to? I don't know.
I think it's Operation Doomsday, but it wasn't. So I
thought Rollins looked good.
Yeah.
Too. I like his mega stomp that he does. And I also liked that after the match, Bronson Reed got up and was like, I'm not done.
And also bleeding. I did like that cool. Too.
That's cool. I like Bronson Reed. Sue me.
So obviously the point of this match was that they are trying to establish Bronson Reed as a title contender by losing, but looking good in defeat. Do you think that was successful?
I think so. I think he looked good. If Braun Breaker wasn't in whatever the fuck the belt's called, Intercontinental title, I would have had Bronson Reed kill Jey Uso once upon a time. Different changes, but I think he's been doing good work since they actually cared to make him a guy.
Yeah,
which is nice. This was a good match.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if on Raw he tries to get his heat back to get a little more into him. But yeah, I thought
Seth's in that 4-way, right?
Yes, he is in that.
Yeah, he's gonna kill Seth.
So yeah, what is that 4-way? Damian Priest, Seth, Dominic, and Sheamus. I wouldn't be shocked if Sheamus wins because I think Seth will get taken out by Bronson.
I hope Dominic wins.
Well, Damian and Dominic will fight each other, and then Sheamus can pick up the pieces.
Dominic should win though, because then it'd be Dominic versus Gunther.
Sounds enticing, but also I don't want to watch it. But I would like.
You would watch it. It'd be 5 minutes long.
I'm gonna watch all of this. That's my job. Speaking of matches I didn't want to watch, but I had to because it was my job. WWE Women's Crown Jewel title match. Liv Morgan defeats Nia Jax in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. No, number one, before we get to the match itself. Sorry. It was announced prior to the event that the Crown Jewel titles will be kept in Saudi Arabia, and instead the winners will receive a ring that they'll get to keep forever, I guess.
Specifically in the WWE experience.
In Saudi Arabia, yes, the titles.
Yeah.
So they unveiled these titles earlier this week on Raw, and then they tell everyone later in the week, no, these titles are staying here. In fact, they're getting rings. Do we have the rings? No, we don't.
Yeah, they have them. They have them.
No, they have them now. But did they unveil the rings at any point during the show? No, I only saw the rings until the post show.
Yeah, you're right. I thought the titles were hilarious on Cody's shoulder. Like Cody was holding the thing. I was like, that's absurd, dude. Yeah, this stinks. This match though, holy shit, did this stink.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, didn't have high expectations coming into it because I know the stands are out there. And the stands and the simps and whatever other words we can think of for Liv Morgan. She's not good.
No.
She's bad. She's really bad. After this match, I was like, my God, Becky Lynch's phone must be blowing up right now.
Well, apparently Liv Morgan is now saying that she retired Becky Lynch.
Yep. Her phone is definitely once what's her name got the broken orbital bone, they're like, all right, we can move away from Liv Morgan as champion now.
Yep, the tease has started. Match wasn't great. Nia Jax was agreeing here.
Nia's not good either, by the way. I don't mean to just make this a Liv Morgan problem.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I've seen Nia have a decent match here and there.
Agreed.
Liv not so much.
Liv Morgan, no. But then on top of that, you also have the interferences. You have the Tiffany.
I saw someone call this the House of Torture match, and I was like, "That's disrespectful."
Yeah, matches at least have the crowd going crazy. You have the Tiffany Stratton feigning the cash in and whatever's happening with that. That was a big distraction of this 8-minute match. You had Dominic there. I don't think actually Dominic did anything. Then you had Raquel Gonzalez show up, which. Hopefully, Rodriguez. My apologies, Raquel Rodriguez. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Raquel Rodriguez pop up, and hopefully she's fine. It looked like she couldn't. She was the one female on the roster that couldn't get the Saudi Arabia approved bodysuit ready because I think she was just wearing a turtleneck shirt. I don't know if you noticed that. But hopefully she'll be fine. Yeah, I can't believe I have to say that discussing this, but it's Saudi Arabia, baby. This match wasn't great. It was 8 minutes where most of it was a Tiffany Stratton feigning cash-in distraction and then Raquel getting involved in the finish and then Liv Morgan retaining the title.
I walked away from this saying, man, Tiffany really should have cashed in on both of them.
you talked about in the preview. It's like, if she cashes in on both of them, what does she win?
Yeah, because
obviously she becomes the crown jewel.
she's far more interesting than both of these champions.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we've been trying to get Tiffany the title for months now, and we keep coming up short. Yeah, these belts need help. I mean, Tiffany's obviously gonna fix the SmackDown belt. She's obviously gonna cash in on Nia eventually.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's gonna fix the Raw belt. I mean, I know Io and Bianca are just there. They could fix it very easily, but it's gonna be Becky, which hey is fine. You know what? Because Becky, to me, that's an Observer Hall of Famer. You bring in the Hall of Famers to save the day.
Not Goldberg. Goldberg.
I actually do miss Becky Lynch. I know some people are like, "Oh, she's always champion." Becky Lynch is good. That's why people like her. That's why she gets the belt.
I had this thought while watching this program because it's twofold thing. There was a conversation on.
God, be good.
Hold on. Walk with me on this road.
Walk with Ryan. All right.
Ding. Sorry, I was doing a lot. So I was listening to the Gentleman's Wrestling podcast, and they were doing their Hall of Fame discussion. And I don't necessarily agree with Jesse Collins on this point, but he brought up he is unsure how much historical significance Becky Lynch has because he is unsure how much the horsewoman stuff will continue past her and past the other horsewomen. And I don't necessarily agree. I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying there, but listening to that, and then watching this match where not a single horsewoman is on this show.
Yeah.
Charlotte has been gone forever. Sasha's in another company. Becky is gone and supposedly coming back in at this point. And then Bayley, who's again not on this show. And I was thinking to myself, this women's division is not that good. And yes, the historical significance of having the women taken more seriously in terms of the wrestling ability has definitely changed. But and granted, this is in front of a Saudi Arabia crowd, so maybe it's not fully on them. But this aspect of they're not taken seriously still, and the wrestling ability has gotten better, but it's still like, what are we doing here? You know, we have a terrible match of Liv Morgan, Nia Jax. You have the women's 4-way, which is good, but also incredibly sloppy. Good because of a lot of the high spot stuff. You have two of the best wrestlers in the company, Bianca Belair and Io Sky, doing a fatal 4-way 8-woman match, doing nothing all year. Bianca Belair has been doing nothing with Jade Cargill all year, and now they're finally going to do the breakup angle, seemingly. Io Sky is just going to be a part of a tag team now. Yeah. So it's just like, it is this sort of thing of like, I disagree about the historical significance thing, but I do see the lack of horsewomen really affects how much this women's division how valuable the women's division currently is without them.
Yeah. I mean, that just proves how valuable they are.
Mm-hmm. Me. And I agree to that. And I agree. And I think that actually helps Becky Lynch to showcase how much of a draw and how much of a thing she is.
Again, with Becky, like, she did something no one probably will ever do again.
Agreed.
In WWE. She was the top star.
Which is incredibly frustrating.
It's incredibly frustrating, but it's the reality that we live in for now, right?
I also had this thought as I was going to bed. Are there any women on the WWE board anymore? Or the TKO board?
No.
Stephanie was a part of it, obviously.
Yeah, no. The TKO board, no.
Sonia E. Medina looks to be, and Nancy. I don't know. Is this TKO or what is this? Is this WWE?
Sonia E. Medina, Nancy Artellum, and Carrie Wheeler.
Yes, these are all the boards. But are these TKO or are these WWE?
This is TKO.
Yeah.
Which is WWE. No.
Yeah, but WWE also has like its own thing. But yeah, I guess it would be TKO. So yeah, there are 3 women on the board. Okay.
Dwayne Johnson.
And Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, also known by his stage name, The Rock.
That's hilarious. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. But it is just
I was trying to think of the do you remember when they released like that image? Mm-hmm. Like when TKO came together because it had mustache Vince on it. I was trying to remember that. I couldn't remember anything besides that.
Mustache Vince.
Yeah.
Well, I think was Stephanie still around for that? I don't know. But
she left. Like, remember when Vince came back? She was like, "I'm out of here."
I was just thinking about like how many like female creative voices. I was also thinking on the board thing, but it's good that there are women there. But I was just thinking also like the female creative voice.
Yeah. I mean,
who are the female creative? Like, who is like the biggest female creative voice in wrestling today? The only people that come to mind are Molly Holly.
Oh, in WWE.
In anywhere. Peppermint.
Yep.
Who else?
Mary Kanellis doesn't have a job anymore.
She's also, I think, like in surgery, so she's obviously not around.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
even in Joshi, you have the Hat Man.
The Hat Man, they have Taro Okada, so no.
Who has more power, Peppermint or Molly Holly? I would say Peppermint.
I would assume Peppermint.
She's booking the women's division of Mercedes Moné and big star of that company. You have to assume it might be Peppermint is the biggest voice in wrestling as a female voice in wrestling.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
And WWE having that lack of diversity is incredibly frustrating. Speaking of lack of diversity, WWE United States triple threat match. That's right. This is all a transition, Scotty. Carmelo Hayes not only loses the match, gets pinned by LA Knight, where LA Knight retains his title against Hayes and Andrade. So speaking of diversity, again, we finally are able to get an African-American wrestler on a men's African-American wrestler, finally on a pay-per-view. And not only does he lose, Scotty, he gets pinned. And I saw not a single person bring this up online and be upset about it.
No one cared about the pin.
I thought it was so indicative. Months and months, and he finally puts an male African-American wrestler on their pay-per-view, and he gets pinned. Great match. Really good match. But you gotta be kidding me. And then the fact that nobody online says a single word about it that I saw. Incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. Dumb. Stinky poo-poo.
Bobby Lashley's debut was pretty fucking awesome, though.
The Hurt Syndicate rule, dude. Shelton Benjamin has been killing it. Bobby Lashley's been killing it. MVP's been doing great.
Let's talk about positive things, I'm done talking about Crowd Jewel. Gunther, Cody was whatever. Let down. There you go.
Let down, boring. Yeah, agreed.
Let down.
Too long.
I liked the match, but like it was for a Gunther match, probably the worst I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Probably the worst Cody match I've seen this year too.
Probably the worst Gunther match I've seen this year, and probably the worst potential first time on the Hall of Fame ballot and potentially going in performance I've seen from anybody before as well.
I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I think they'll both be okay.
He got another accolade, actually.
Ring.
But yeah, I want to talk about
real quickly. I don't know how, but I'm pretty confident that they should have an engagement bit between Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think that's what they're going to do. Go ahead.
Anyways,
positives.
I feel redeemed this week because the Art Syndicate rules. And I remember like everyone's like, I don't know. These guys are older. They don't. I was like, no. You don't understand how cool the Hurt Business was. Like they were great.
Over it was.
It was over in a world where it was hard to be over because again they were in the stupid Thunderdome or whatever the fuck it was called. But when the MVP says we're back in business, I was like, give me all the money. Give them all the money. This is it. This is what it's all about. Bobby Lashley, we're going to hurt you. That's what the theme song says. It's crazy. Theme song could be better, but it's fine.
It needs to have the dun dun like you can see. Bobby wanted to do the double fist pump, but he couldn't.
Yes, he added that to the which I also love. I've always been a big Bobby Lashley fan since when when I got into wrestling 2007, he was one of my favorites.
Mhm.
And then he disappeared from my TV, and I didn't understand where he went. He just never came back.
Just showed up, battle the billionaires, and then all of a sudden,
He had to go to the IGF. Way
Yeah.
more important, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this guy's awesome. I watched the end of this show, and I saw someone make a good point. Like, if there's anyone that wants to beat NXT this week, it's them. And I was like, you're damn right. And I hope they do. Listen, Manchester, New Hampshire's a ways away from me. It's like a good hour or so.
Yeah.
When I saw them announce for the show, I was like, I was like, come on. I didn't care about anything else. I do not want to see Malachi Black versus Adam Cole at all. That match is gonna suck ass.
After the Buddy one, I was like, oh no.
Because I was like, Buddy's better than Malachi at this current stage, so that's gonna be really rough. And Adam Cole.
No, I have never been a Adam Cole fan, and more so than now, it's like, damn, this guy.
I watched that match. I was like, oh, this is really bad.
I watched this. Okay, never mind. Can I say something that the quote unquote the wokes won't enjoy, Scotty? He's considering hands and head in hands. He's considering.
Go ahead.
I watched Adam Cole, and I was like, man, maybe Cody was right. maybe body guys should be a thing.
That's fucking terrible. That's so bad.
That is terrible.
This guy went through God.
I know this guy went for like really bad leg injury, but the guy can do a couple bench presses.
Oh God, right.
I don't like
this is where you add the disclaimer. You're kidding, joking.
I'm joking. I obviously am joking. I'm a big fan of Adam Cole. I love the devil stuff. I
didn't say lie.
If there is one thing that I can really sum up is what I just said, it will be this.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I forgot what. Sorry, I thought that was just going to be about saying lies, not like saying, "Oh no, I'm telling the truth." My apologies. I wrote the wrong button.
Anyways,
no, yeah. I also don't. To be clear, my disclaimer is also I don't like that Cody said that. I think he's wrong. For a prime example, Gunther is cooler when he was a pudgier, 100 pounds heavier on the European indie scene. It doesn't have to. We don't all need body guys.
Listen, this is all you need to say. Samoa Joe versus everyone. Thank you.
Also, very much true.
Yeah. Come on.
Back on the thing. Adam Cole, Malachi Black doesn't look that good.
That looks terrible. The tag match that they just added looks pretty good. The Orange Cassidy Darby one, that'll be good.
Yeah.
But and Jamie Hayter versus Penelope Ford. Whatever. I don't know what Penelope Ford looks like these days.
Same.
Happy she's back though. Been a long time. But my point of this was, I looked at that show. I was like, I'm not going. And then they said the Hurt Syndicate live, and I was like,
are they wrestling or are they just doing a promo?
No, they're not wrestling. I don't think. If they were wrestling, I'd be there. If Bobby Lashley was stepping into the ring to kill someone, I'd be there.
When's the next AEW show in your area? Let's see, because maybe they'll have a match for him. Providence, Rhode Island. Is that any close? Bridgeport, Connecticut.
That's also an hour. Bridgeport's 2 hours and I'm not going there.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I don't blame you. I think from there you're gonna be out of luck.
I went to Bridgeport for NXT 25. I think was it NXT 25. So I had to do a hotel and all that. NXT Takeover 25. My apologies.
Oh yes.
The one where Adam Cole won the NXT championship, funny enough. You don't know that card was?
Sure.
I know off the top of my head. It was Tyler Breeze returning to NXT to face the Velveteen Dream.
Who?
Yeah, not great. Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai, which I was a big fan of Io Shirai, and she didn't win, so I was devastated.
Main event.
Main event was Cole and Gargano with 1,000,007 kickouts. However, my God, that arena popularity for Adam Cole was absurd. Undisputed era Adam Cole popularity, unbelievable.
You're
and he
missing
won.
2 matches, and I'll give you.
There's a ladder match. I know the ladder match.
Who are the participants in the ladder match?
Street Profits.
Yes.
The
Good luck.
the Jackson Riker group.
Jackson. Oh, the Forgotten Sons. I'll give you that
Yes.
one. Can you name them? Can you name those 2 guys?
Steve Macklin. So Steve Cutler.
Yep.
And Wesley Blake.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Was there one more team? One more
2
team?
more
2
teams.
more? Oh, fuck.
Fatal 4-way.
Hold on. Oh, Oni and Danny Burch.
Yep. What is Danny Burch doing nowadays?
Don't know.
I think he might be an anti-vax, but don't quote me on that.
I said Profits, right?
Yep. Very obvious who the last team is. You're gonna be, if you don't get it, you'll be mad at yourself.
Oh, it's the Undisputed Era?
Yeah.
Okay. Bobby Fish and Kyle?
Yes.
Okay.
There's one other match.
Roddy. Matt Riddle, right?
Yeah, Roddy
and Matt Riddle.
Can you guess the pre-show matches at all, or we did not go for this?
Keith Lee was in one.
Against Kona Reeves.
The finest! the finest Kona Reeves! He works at the Indiana Jones thing in Disney World now. I think he might be Indiana Jones.
He's the boulder.
He's the finest.
he's tumbling around in the boulder.
The boulder. That's an AEW gimmick, I'm pretty sure. You jerk.
Yeah, my apologies.
Mia Yim.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Versus Top Star. Bianca. Yes. Correct. Yeah.
All right. We have to finish the show.
Yes. New Japan Power.
That was the Bobby Lashley though.
New Japan Power Struggle.
Sorry.
It's just coming out to New York. Edion Arena in Osaka, Japan. New Japan Power Struggle is taking place. What is it? Why this music? It's just the vibe that you're feeling currently.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
So a lot of pre-show, not really pre-show stuff, but all multi-mans to open up the show. We have Kevin Knight, Kushida, Jude London, Paris De Silva, and Katsuya Murashima versus Clark Connors, Drill Maloney, Gabe Kidd, Robbie X, and Taiji Ishimori in the 10-man tag. You have Dragon Daya, Rusuke Taguchi, Tomoyaka Hanma, and Toriyano versus Bushi, Hiromu, Naito, and Tsuji. You have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Oleg Bolton versus Evil and Ren Narita. You also have a special singles with Sonata versus Shota Umino. That's all pretty much like the opening stuff, and maybe that singles matches be interesting. But will Shota Umino get booed again? Is the question.
I just want to shout out to because we got to this. Hopefully, wishing the best for Chris Bay, wishing the best for El Phantasmo.
Vikingo.
Bolt. Oh, he's fine.
I think he is fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He just got swollen knees, out for like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
But El Phantasmo dealing with a small
like a cancer,
tumor, I believe he said.
Like a cancer polyp thing.
Yeah, and obviously Chris Bay has been in the news all week. So
I believe I couldn't figure it out entirely. I believe it's a neck injury.
Yeah, so wishing him the best. We have obviously been big ABC fans for as long as this show's been going. So hopefully he's back in the ring sooner rather than later. But more importantly, okay.
I think the show's been going on before ABC even was a thing.
You're probably right, but we were Chris Bay and Ace Austin fans, so I'm just saying ABC. But yeah, let's talk about Power Struggle. I hope Shota Umino gets booed out of the building. I hope they tell him to go home, and I hope that I don't have to watch him wrestle, but I'm gonna have to watch the show, so I have no choice. The
booking aspect of the bad situation regarding El Phantasmo is like he's obviously gone for the foreseeable future. And you were using El Phantasmo and Shota Umino to build up the new Hantai faction around Tanahashi's leaving, and Phantasmo's gone, and Shooter's getting booed. So, not ideal. Not ideal. From a booking standpoint.
Not great, King.
In terms of the main card, this is all the main card, but in terms of the main important stuff for me, IWGP Tag Team Title Match: Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes versus Great Khan and Hanare.
I mean, that Sonata Shota Umino match is important, but
yeah, I agree.
We don't care. That's the difference.
I will be watching that match. Not in the top 3, but I'll be watching that match onwards for sure. But any thoughts on the IWGP Tag Title match? Should be fine. I think it should be interesting. I don't think it's great.
No, I don't think so either. It'll be fine.
I am interested, however, in Hanari versus Mad Mikey Nichols. If you remember that G1 run where they almost killed him. Yeah, I am very interested in that pairing. Super Junior Tag League final. The tournament took place. We didn't talk about it at all, but that's fine. But the finals are happening.
Ichiban Sweet Boys.
Ichiban Sweet Boys, Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles against Catch 22, Francisco Akira, and TJP. Any thoughts on this? I assume the winner of this will face off at Wrestle Kingdom or some other pay-per-view. I have no idea.
I think it's Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe. I don't know. Did you know I watched 3 matches from Super Junior Tag League?
More than me. I watched Goose Egg 0.
Well, 2 of them. 3 of them, 2 of them. No, I actually only watched 2. I lied. They were good.
Okay.
You're welcome. And both of them involves one of these teams.
Oh.
Coincidence? I think not.
I mean, these are like the
Incredibles.
Only good junior tags teams in this company. Probably.
Hey! I liked Roppongi Revice.
I like Velocities. I like Intergalactic Jet Setters.
Well, they're the champions, so they weren't winning.
I also do like Drilla Maloney and Clark Conyers. Okay, maybe I'll take that back. I may walk back. I did name 5 people, 5 teams that I enjoy. So
I like half the field.
I'm sure the Skateboard Bros were fun.
I think this match will be really good.
Yeah.
And I think Ichiban Sweet Boy should win.
Oh, I don't disagree. I think that'd be a good, cool idea.
And I also like saying Ichiban Sweet Boys.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Ichiban Sweet Cast podcast on the Count Out Network.
I just learned that's why their name was that. I did not know where that came from the entire time. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm just missing something. And then when I saw that this team was called the Ichiban Sweet Boys, I was like, wow, they went from Okada's shorts to a junior tag team.
Yep. Well, part of it also is obviously they talk about Japan. One of them is Australia. One of them is England. There's the Zack Sabre TMTK vibes. So that's the name that they went with.
Okay, no, that's fine. It's a good one, to be fair. I like saying it. So that match should be really good though. I think under, not enough people talk about this, but the junior tag matches on their big shows have often been good, if not great.
Agreed. But I think this has potential to be great. Honestly.
Yeah, they moved up the card too.
Yeah, so I think
it originally was supposed to be the start of it all, and then they were like, "Yeah, we don't need Sonata and Shota Umino that high."
Good. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title match: Doki against Master Wato.
Fire me up, folks! This is what it's all about: Doki versus the Grandmaster. Obviously, Doki is. I think Master Wato wins, and then he faces El Desperado, because that's the story they wanted to tell forever ago.
Yeah.
Remember? And then they couldn't. Sad for Doki. But listen, Doki's got a couple of defenses under his belt. He's been a good champion. Won't be his last.
Yeah. I think solid reign from Doki, so I'm fine.
Yeah. It's all with the Grandmaster, Sorry.
Mm-hmm. IWGP Global Heavyweight Title match: David Finlay versus Taichi.
We're doing it again. This is what it's all about. Taichi's gonna make me believe. Rips off the pants. I saw Kyle Fletcher took that, by the way. Brilliant decision. Listen, I think rip off pants, great pop for people every time, especially when Taichi does it. But Taichi's the best because he'll wrestle the entire match and then do it.
Yeah.
No one beats Taichi at it. This is gonna be great. I love Taichi. David Finley's great. What a world we live in.
Yeah, it only took a year for everyone to join me, but it's finally happened. Singing the praises of David Finlay.
Well, you hated David Finlay originally.
Oh boy,
you were ready to throw him in the trash.
Yeah,
you're like, get out of here, and now look at
soon as he showed up looking like Jay White, I was like, nope. And now I'm
Now
like,
David Finlay is my favorite New Japan wrestler.
I'm a
That's
flag waiver for David Finlay over here.
that might not be true. Actually, it might be true. No, the grip is. Never mind.
That's fair. Main event, IWGP World Heavyweight Title match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shingo.
Yeah, they'll have a great match. Like whatever.
This is the latter half of this card. I mean, we just talked about 4 matches back to back to back that all should have potential of being great.
The Ichiban Sweet Boys, Doki and the Grandmaster, David Finlay and Taichi, and Zack and Shingo.
Some all-time greats, Hall of Famers probably.
2 guys that have put on number of classics against one another. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In a big main event. Where's this? Osaka?
Edion Arena, Osaka.
Yeah, that should be great. And then we'll all learn wherever Shota Umino's match is going to happen. So that will be terrifying.
Yeah, I think that's.
Oh, we missed the big thing that's happening on the show.
Oh, what is that?
Kenny Omega.
Yes, he will be making an appearance, right? So he's going to be cutting a promo.
He's making a return in New Japan before AEW.
So yeah, it's just a matter of.
Don't say AEW doesn't do anything for New Japan.
So the belief probably is that it is going to be Shooter beating Sonata and then challenging Zack Sabre Jr. after the match. People have concerns that that's the Wrestle Kingdom match.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Fighting Spirit Unleashed. Nope, not that one. The other one. Strong Style Evolved.
Possibly. I think so. The big shows that you could do it on, I guess.
You can't do historic crossover.
There's a show called New Japan Road and Anho, but I doubt.
I don't think they're gonna do it on that.
I doubt they would do it historic crossover too. They could, I guess.
Zach's in a match.
Oh, perfect. They could do it as a World Tag League final or Strong Style Evolved. That's really it. Is you have 2 spots: Strong Style Evolved in Long Beach, California, or a World Tag League final.
Strong Style Evolved. He's on the poster. Zach's on the poster. They like to make those big shows. Just do it there, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Shota might not be booed out of the building. Might.
He should.
Probably not. He will
should.
be. Yeah, get him away from Wrestle Kingdom. I don't even care who Zach faces at Wrestle Kingdom, as long as it's not this nerd.
I've seen the pitch of Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kenny. If you want that to main event Wrestle Kingdom, I pitched before like Zack Sabre Jr. and Danielson, but obviously that's not going to happen. So if there's anyone that can do the main event to Wrestle Kingdom, Kenny is the pitch right now.
So they're gonna have to like fight this thing of Naito and Hiromu, right? Because that is the biggest match, unless something somehow tops it. Because no offense to Zach,
Kenny is up there.
Kenny might be it. Kenny might be your only hope for that. I've seen people pitch Takeshita. It wouldn't be bigger, but it would be great. There's.
But you also want an AEW guy, being the main event of Wrestle Kingdom,
right? Like Kenny or Takeshi, both AEW guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough, but it kind of tells you all you need to know about the rest of the roster. I think we all know Tsuji's doing Finlay. That's why.
Yeah.
Right. So, which moves me.
Well, big time Suge.
Fuck.
We'll find out.
I believe in David.
Yeah, me too. So Power Struggle, I think, is looking pretty good. And then on Friday, there's Fighting Spirit Unleashed in Lowell, Massachusetts. Will you be going, Scotty? Will you be in attendance?
I don't know yet.
Well, let's see if this card can convince you. The card is singles match Mustafa Ali versus Leo Rush.
Okay.
David Finlay versus Kevin Knight in a non-title match.
Kind of moves me.
I hope they do the exact same thing that they did with Taka Michinoku and Royal Quest, where David Finlay is like, no, I don't want to fight you. And then Kevin Knight has to face Gato, and then he gets beaten by David Finlay afterwards. It's the exact same thing. This is a tough one. Will this move Scotty? I do not know. I think it's a push. Kenta in a singles match versus the Grip Rohei Oiwa.
That's the spirit of Noah right there.
I know. That could just be a great Noah match, you know.
There is this problem though where Kenta hates working New Japan.
I know.
Like I've heard like people watch his like indie stuff, and he's like, "Why does he try more there than New Japan?" I was like,
I don't know.
I think he just signs with New Japan to get paid.
Like,
That's about it. Which,
Hey.
by the way, brilliant idea.
best 2 out of 3 falls match: the West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jorel Nelson, Royce Isaacs versus Dirty Work, Fred Rosser, and Tom Lawler.
Dirty work. Dirty work.
Yeah.
Should be
Fine.
fine.
New Japan Strong open weight tag team title match: TMDK versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. Could be good, maybe. I'm thinking of 3.
Real quick.
I'm thinking of 3, 3.25.
Remember all the hype for
Yeah.
the grizzled young veterans?
I was part of that.
They're not that special.
They haven't lived up to that hype in any.
No, that's why they were demoted from AEW to Ring of Honor already.
New
I'm
Japan.
just saying something about that tag division.
I know.
Let's continue.
New Japan Strong women's title #1 contendership 4-way match. Again, the winner of this will challenge Mercedes Moné, I assume at Long Beach.
Yeah.
Kogama versus Hazuki versus Trisha Dora versus Anna Jay.
I'm going to be frank with everyone. The only reason I might go to the show is because of Hazuki. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. That is, once she was announced, I was like, shit.
And I
She
think
didn't
a
even come to a
strong contender to win this match too.
I mean, Mercedes Moné obviously picked her. Like, come on.
Well, you also, it's Lowell, Massachusetts. You might get a Mercedes Moné appearance.
Don't do this to me.
Might.
Don't do
Might,
this.
Scotty. Scotty, AEW is also working in the Northeastern area. I don't know. Maybe
I know.
we also know that maybe some Hurt Syndicate members want to work New Japan, have worked
All
New
right.
Japan.
If they showed up on this random ass show, that'd be crazy. I mean, I'd jump on my seat. Don't get me wrong.
They come out and challenge TMDK.
My Hazuki's obviously winning. Mercedes picks her opponents.
Yes.
She picked
Be that
Momo.
clear. If anyone gets confused about some things, Mercedes has such pull in this company that she's practically picking her opponents. So
She
if
picks her opponents for both companies.
Yeah.
They made Chris Statlander go babyface because of this.
Yeah.
You know, like this is you want what power is? It's whatever Mercedes Moné has.
You're talking power struggle? Yeah, I think Hazuki wins this one. She should, and I cannot fucking wait to see Hazuki versus Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, it moves me tremendously.
Yeah.
I've kind of seen it. You know, it did happen in the Secure Genesis match. That was great once upon a time.
Who was the third in that match?
Azumi, which was also the person that Mercedes picked. So funny how that works. Mercedes makes a lot of picks. This should be great. Well, no, the Hazuki versus Mercedes should be great. This 4-way should be whatever.
I think it should be pretty good.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how Anna does again.
Me too.
You know, making strides here, right? She had the world title match last night. I heard it was pretty solid.
Yeah. Let me see if I can Collision. Early return Collision.
What does Cage match say? Did people write Collision matches?
Oh yeah, they do. 6.13.
That's not that bad.
That's not that bad, but the amount of praise I saw last night,
it's higher ranked than Pac versus Action Andretti.
Well, that's not a shock. Scotty, come on.
Arya Davari versus Leo Rush.
I guess so. 4-minute squash. Who cares?
You know, it's crazy to me how many people. I mean, good devotion from everyone, but a lot of people watch Collision live.
Yeah, people like AEW, Scotty.
I know, it's crazy.
I like AEW, but I don't watch Collision live.
I was gonna say you don't like it that much.
Yeah. And then the main event of the show: New Japan Strong openweight title match: Gabe Kidd versus Kosei Fujita. I mean, Gabe Kidd winning for sure.
I'm going with the Ichiban Sweet Boy.
My apologies, sir.
That should be really good.
Yeah, I think this should be a solid show. Power Struggle looks way more interesting to me, obviously, but this should be a solid show for what it is. Does it move you? Does it move you to buy a ticket to Lowell, Massachusetts? And I don't know. Does it go on Ticketmaster? Is that how you get these freaking tickets?
No, it's like e-tix.
You got to eat tickets. That sounds gross. I don't even know how to purchase these tickets. But yeah, so it should be an interesting show at the very least. I am interested to see how it talks about it, and we will, I guess, talk about it all next week. That's it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. That's all of our topics. Scotty, plugs, match of the weeks. Hit us with it.
Match of the weeks, plural. Yeah, follow me at Scott E Wrestling on Twitter. If you're feeling fancy, that's where I tweet about nothing anymore. But tweet about old Joshi. That's about all I do. Yeah. Project wise, I got nothing. It's kind of good, kind of bad. We'll see. But it's almost the end of the year, so I got some ideas. Will they come to light though? That's the real question. We'll have to wait and see. Match of the week. Oh, not an easy one this week. I watched a good amount of wrestling earlier in the week. I did not realize this. Okay. All right. Hear me out here. Hold on. Buckle up. You ready?
Just buckle.
Seats buckle. My match of the week is the we didn't talk about this. I'll just do Young Bucks and Private Party.
Yeah, that's fair. Great match.
Happy for Private Party. I was there the first time they beat the Young Bucks.
All about the follow up here. You can get a great match.
I like the 4-way dance they're doing coming up for Full Gear. I think that's interesting. The right way, by the way.
AEW announcing matches on television, by the way.
Crazy.
Crazy. Coming back to form slowly but surely. It only took some people out of the room, apparently.
It only took a decade. Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, you figured out what I was saying there?
Yeah. The ideal match of that is like Top Flight. It won't be Top Flight. Top Flight, FTR, and LFI. Though I don't know what House of Black duo it is. So if it's Brody and someone, then I could be intrigued for them to beat FTR. Either way, it's good to see. Happy for Private Party. So long again, Young Bucks. It was nice knowing you.
We'll see you at Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah, we'll see you at Wrestle Dynasty. Hilarious place for them to return. And yeah, that's it. That's my week. We talked about a lot of stuff, so I didn't have much else.
My match of the week. Lock in. I got 2 bits flying at you fast. My match of the week. Scotty, there's a lot of great matches that happen every week, and you also know my proclivities. If I'm using that word correctly. I like to watch some older stuff. I watched obviously wrestling from this week. I'll try to do some catch up wrestling of this year. I watched some old Ring of Honor from 2002 this week as well.
Oh,
but another match went online that went viral this week. A lot of people were discussing it. And of course, my match is from 1908. Because of course I had to pick the oldest thing possible. The George Hackenschmidt footage that's been going around town a little bit. Was this company NGA Tanga? It's a New Zealand company, I believe, that does restorations of old footage. They restored about 30 minutes of George Hackenschmidt wrestling, the first world champion ever, George Hackenschmidt. This is from January 30th, 1908. There's 2 matches, I believe, in here, and then just like some posing of whatever for him. But yeah, George Hackenschmidt wrestling from 1908. This footage is 116 years old, Scotty, and you can watch all of it online. It's all over Twitter as well. It's very Greco-Roman style, very old, very extremely old school. It's 1908, folks. but it is interesting to watch nonetheless. To just see wrestling from over 100 years ago. So yeah, I say go check it out if you so choose. My second bit that I'm going to do this week is an important bit, but I'm going to bring it up, is that, look, we don't get political on the show, but my plug is going to be to go vote. Important time in our history, and I think in a possible inflection point of how history is going to be for the future of the United States for us.
Is your recommendation Bobby Lashley versus Umaga?
No. No. My bit here is obviously my plugs are going to be to go vote. If you haven't already voted, please go vote by Tuesday. It is extremely important. Like I said, it's an inflection point. We don't get political too much, but it's probably very obvious how I feel about things. I would recommend voting for Kamala Harris, of course, because in my opinion, Scotty, voting Donald Trump as president would be like, I don't know, allowing Eric Bischoff to book wrestling again. A guy that succeeded once decades ago and has failed countless and numerous times ever since, and continues to make cut promos and nonsensical ramblings where he is a fraud and wrong constantly. So if you're going to vote this Tuesday, do you want to vote for Eric Bischoff or do you want to vote for the future? So that's my big opinions and big bits from this week. Another plug I do want to make beyond that is I was a guest on the most recent episode of Ichiban's Weekcast, where I talked about Royal Quest 4. If you want to hear those thoughts, I also did a guest spot on Faces and Feels Cast, interview show on the Count Out Network. That will be coming out this Friday. So if you want to sort of hear my thoughts on, the sort of the creation of the network, what, more personal stuff about me, the creation of the Count Out Network, and sort of my views of the network itself, listen to that show if you want to get some more behind the scenes curtain.
Talk shit about me?
Yeah. I spent an hour talking shit about Scotty. So if you want to hear that, it'll be coming out.
That's what this show's for.
But yeah, so if you want to hear more about that, that will come out this Friday on the Faces and Feels Cast feed. Also on the YouTube channel, also on all these other places. So make sure you subscribe if you want to go check that out. That's it for me, Scotty. I think we're all good here. Next week, we'll be talking about a lot more stuff. I'm sure there'll be 10 more people retiring.
Power struggle.
Between this week and next week. We'll talk about Power Struggle. We'll talk about New Japan Fighting Spirit Unleashed. We will probably also preview Historic Crossover. That card's out. So we'll also probably preview that since it'll be the week following. And we'll talk about the ballot because the ballot will be due on Friday. So we'll talk about what your ballot is, Scotty, what my thoughts on who I think should be going into the Hall of Fame. And we'll talk about all of that until I guess maybe 2-3 weeks later, we'll talk about who officially goes in the ballot. So we'll talk about all that next week on Ring Post Radio. So until then, we'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.